Okay, good morning. I call the October 28th, 2025 meeting of the board to order, of the DuPage County Board to order. A quorum of members is physically present. I will entertain a motion to permit those members not physically present due to personal illness or disability, employment purposes, or businesses of the board. Is there a second? All in favor? Aye. Okay, opposed? Okay, motion carries. All right. I invite everyone to stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance. Member Galassi, will you please lead the pledge?
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we have our invocation, I'll ask for a moment of silence to remember former DuPage County Clerk Gary King, who passed away yesterday. Mr. King served the county for 48 years, 28 of those years as the elected county clerk, from 1986 to 2014. Our thoughts are with his family, and I'd like to ask for a moment of silence. I now invite Father Tony Jasewski from Macedonian Orthodox Church in Willowbrook to lead us in the invocation. And Father, thank you for being patient with us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy to be today with you. As the last time, here I am to help you, serve you, and pray with you. Before that, I'm going to give you some little reflection. Of course, I'm going to start from the scripture, from the Matthew and Mark. It's the same way. It's about the prophet. And they say, there is no prophet without honor, except in his own town and house too. What is the point of it? Let's say Jesus Christ, when he was in hometown in the Nazareth, where many people saw him, but they doubted him, because he was one of them. And he there did no miracle. The point here is, in this modern time, that you, as a public servant of DuPage County, you're doing a great job. But unfortunately, you're not appreciated. Because you're the prophet in your own town. But God, he's great. He can see everything, and he will guide you, give you strength, and also help you to do your honest and beautiful job. So far, may God bless you, give you strength, lead you to do the best for this county as you usually do. Keep going with the God's name. God bless you, and I wish you the best. Thank you again. Thank you for having me. God bless you.
Thank you, Father, and I hope you'll be back very soon. Okay, on the matter of public comment, according to our county board rules, members of the public shall be afforded time to address the board. Individual remarks shall not exceed 3 minutes in length, nor shall the total time provided for all remarks exceed 30 minutes. Our state's attorney will call the names of those who have signed up to speak.
Janet Miller.
Oh, I'm sorry. I guess we should just send roll call. I'm sorry, Mr. Deputy Clerk. It's so pleasant to just have a nice conversation with him that we went right past that. We went from the diplomat to forgetting about this. Okay, roll call, please.
Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert.
Here.
Member Dessart.
Here.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornatori, Member Yu,
Here.
and Member Zay.
Janet Miller.
Good morning. I am Janet Miller from Naperville, and I wanted to address this group because of my concern about ICE and its operations in the area. I have friends who are Hispanic. I have worked with a family who immigrated here from Uganda and have become citizens. They are concerned. They are scared. And these are people who have become citizens now. But they're scared because they have a heavy accent, or they are afraid that they're going to be pulled over driving while Hispanic. And so I know I am limited with what I can do, but I am here to speak for them, to listen, and to give them hope during these troubling times. Thank you very much for being here.
Bill Ulrich. Bill Ulrich. The next person will be Kate Wolf, if Kate wants to come up.
Good morning. I am Bill Ulrich of Downers Grove. I worship at Faith Lutheran Church in Glen Ellen, which is a proud dues-paying member of DuPage United. DuPage United is an inclusive, fiercely nonpartisan, and I need my glasses, and growing group of 28 institutions, including mosques, churches, synagogues, and not-for-profit agencies, representing about 60,000 DuPage County residents. DuPage United members are responsible civic sector leaders that work to bring communities together around shared needs and values. DuPage United is affiliated with the Metro Industrial Areas Foundation, the oldest and largest network of community organizations throughout the U.S., Germany, England, and Canada. DuPage United is encouraged by the proposed affordable housing investment in the 2026 county budget. We welcome your focus on that. Recently, DuPage United succeeded in its campaign for an affordable, supportive 42-unit apartment community in Glen Ellen. This is the first of 6 affordable, supportive apartment developments we plan to build in DuPage County. Nationally, as part of Metro IAF, we have a proven track record of building for affordable rental developments and home ownership. We are interested in working with you and Chair Conroy to build more affordable housing throughout the county. DuPage United invites all county board members to a celebration and call to action for the Taft and Exmoor affordable development in Glen Ellen. This is a by-invitation only event, and you will all receive more details shortly. Thank you very much.
Kate Wolf.
Good morning, all. Thank you to the board for this opportunity to speak. My name is Kate Wolf. I am a mom of 2, a longtime DuPage County resident, and a local lead for the Glen Ellen chapter of Moms Demand Action. I'm here to show my support for the creation of a memorial for gun violence victims. This memorial would serve multiple functions. First and foremost, as an act of solidarity and remembrance, as well as a tangible commitment of our community in honoring those who have lost their lives by saying this cannot continue, something needs to change. I think gun violence a lot of times can be miscategorized as a city problem or a Chicago problem, when in reality it actually occurs in every single county in our state as well, and is disruptive in every single county in our state. In 2023, there were 1,691 deaths in our state due to gun violence. This represents families irrevocably changed, and these numbers are not incidental. I had the opportunity to talk with Board Member Childress last week about his vision for this memorial, and he said something to me that struck me as very poignant, that with the holidays coming up, there will undoubtedly be people in our community and in our county that will be noticing the absence of their loved ones to an even more profound degree. As they gather for the holidays, there's empty chairs at the table. This issue is exacerbated even further for people, for victims who don't have a burial site. It begs the question, where are families and friends supposed to go to mourn and grieve and remember their loved one? So this memorial would provide a tangible space for people to collectively grieve. It is a way to affirm the lives of people that have died due to gun violence, and to say loud and clear, your life mattered, and we remember you. It is a way for our community to communicate our values, that we do not normalize this type of violence. And lastly, it serves as a reminder to all of us, constituents, policymakers, and law enforcement, that gun violence is a community issue that deserves all of our time and attention and prevention. Thanks for this opportunity.
The next three are Rebecca Hackman, Tim Kane, and Victor M. If you want to come up here and just get in line. Rebecca Hackman is first.
Timer to click down. Okay, thanks. Good morning. I want to begin by thanking the board for your leadership and courage in addressing many difficult issues, from immigration protections to election administration to emerging technologies like drones. What brings us here today is a shared belief that DuPage County can be a model of fairness, transparency, and public trust. We all want safe neighborhoods, accountable government, and community where every person, whether a citizen, resident, or a visitor, can live without fear. The resolution before you is a step in that direction. It affirms due process, dignity, and our right as a county to decide how public property is used. These are worthy values to uphold. But values become real through implementation. In Evanston, for example, the city has operationalized its principles by training city employees, first responders, and contractors on residents' constitutional rights, how to verify judicial warrants, and what to do if federal agents appear on city property. They also post signage designating ICE-free zones so that everyone, the public, employees alike, know what the policy means in practice. So my question to the board is, will DuPage County follow through with a similar plan, training staff and contractors and posting signage at county buildings and parking lots to make this resolution enforceable and visible to everyone who lives and works here? Our community is ready to collaborate, to research, help draft, and make these protections real. Together, we can ensure that the principles of due process and safety in this resolution are not just words on paper, but living commitments that strengthen trust between residents and their government. Thank you for your commitment to that vision.
Tim Kane. Tim Kane. I'm going to move on to Victor M.
Good evening, Chair Conroy and members of the board. My name is Victor. In 2025, protecting due process also means protecting people's data. Nationwide, we have learned that surveillance networks like Flock, automated license plate readers, Ring partnerships, and other data sharing platforms can quietly feed information to federal agencies conducting immigration enforcement. There are now several examples of these abuses of this local data by ICE to cite, including Gig Harbor, Michigan, Syracuse, New York, Evanston, Illinois, and Richmond, Virginia. Denver, Colorado even recently rejected a Flock contract proposal unanimously. DuPage has authority over its property, contracts, and tech infrastructure. So I ask this board directly, Will you commit to reviewing all surveillance and data sharing agreements, particularly those relating to flock safety? Consider the implications of keeping data of all of your residents with a third-party data broker. Really consider it, and then ban the use of these cameras and order their immediate takedown. Cancel all contracts. Follow the lead of Evanston's mayor, Daniel Bliss. Start driving us in the direction of eliminating these all-seeing eyes from our streets. I imagine Mayor Bliss understands this excerpt from Jay Stanley's article on the ACLU website titled, "Flock's Aggressive Expansions Go Far Beyond Simple Driver Surveillance." Now, imagine that a police officer stood on your street writing detailed notes about you every time you drove or walked by them. All the details about what your car looks like, make, model, color, distinguishing characteristics, bumper stickers, as well as details about visible occupants and pedestrians, how many, at what time, their activities, demographic data, what they are wearing, attributes they may have, such as a beard, hat, tattoo, or t-shirt, and what that hat, t-shirt, or tattoo might say. Now imagine that there's an army of police officers doing this on every block. This is the surveillance world that Flock is creating for our world. This does not even touch on the fact that these systems frequently have AI enhancement errors. And for example, this has resulted in violently aggressive and wrongful arrests of whole families. In the case of this instance from Aurora, Colorado, resulted in a $1.9 million settlement. By adding a privacy protection clause or outright ban of these cameras, DuPage can lead the state and country in data protection, data privacy protection, and immigration rights. Thank you for your time and for considering these facts.
The next three are Maria Sinkuel, Helen Schrute, and Beth Sirags. The first one's Maria Sinkuel.
Sorry, I have to lower the mic. Thank you. My name is Doctora Maria Sinquiol, and I'm here for the people of DuPage County. Being on the ground, witnessing these inhuman violations of human rights sends a chill to my spine, and we cannot stay silent. Across Illinois, other counties have already moved beyond symbolism. Evanston's Resolution 93R25 legally prohibits the use of any city property, parking lots, garages, buildings, airports for civil immigration enforcement without a judicial warrant. Will County's executive order does the same, specifying which activities are not allowed: staging, mobilizing, parking, or using local property for immigration enforcement operations. Both also include staff procedures for how to respond if federal agents appear and how to report violations. DuPage's resolution, by contrast, vaguely asserts that the county has the power to limit such access, but it does not exercise that power. It lacks any action items, reporting process, or enforcement mechanisms. As written, it's aspirational, but not operational. So instead of asking another question, I want to make a direct call to action. This resolution must be amended to include specific enforceable measures, clearly identifying which county properties are off limits: parking lots, vacant lots, garages, even your airport and government buildings. Define prohibited activities: staging, mobilizing, congregating, parking, or deploying for civil immigration enforcement. Establish a procedure for employees to report any attempt or actual use of these spaces. Require signage labeling these areas as restricted for that purpose. These additions would align DuPage with the best practices already established in Evanston, Will, Lake, and Cook counties. They are procedural safeguards grounded in county's legal authority under Illinois Statute 55 ILCS 5-51005. A resolution with structure is a safeguard for residents, employees, and for the sport's own integrity. You have the authority and precedent to act. Let's make it a working policy that reflects DuPage County's commitment to safety, transparency, and constitutional due process. Thank you for your time.
I'm going to recall Tim Kane. Tim Kane.
Hi, my name is Tim Kane. I'm a resident of Wheaton, and I'm here today because a harmful narrative has spread from the Trump administration in Washington to cable news and social media to Republican politicians right here in DuPage County. It paints immigrants as criminals or threats to safety. That narrative is false. Decades of FBI data and research from groups across the political spectrum show the same truth. Immigrants are less likely to commit crimes than U.S.-born citizens. Yet fear spreads faster than facts. When people are afraid, they avoid calling 911, they avoid cooperating with police, they avoid public places where they belong. Fear does not keep communities safe. Fear breaks communities down. We know something else in DuPage County. Our neighbors who came from other countries contribute every day. They start businesses on our main streets. They care for our children and elders. They are volunteers in our churches and schools. They pay taxes that fund this very building. Their friendship and entrepreneurship and hard work make DuPage thrive. There's another lesson I learned long ago from the story of the Good Samaritan. When we ask, who is my neighbor, the answer is not found in citizenship papers. The answer is found in how we choose to treat one another in moments of need. This board has already taken a meaningful first step by affirming dignity and due process for every resident, and I thank you for that. But we need to turn those beliefs into clear action. We've all seen the chaos ICE is bringing into our communities. Right now, county employees have little guidance about immigration-related encounters from the current resolution. They do not know how to respond if ICE appears on county property. They are left to guess. That is not fair to them, and it is not fair to the public. There is also minimal reporting or visibility into any interactions with immigration enforcement. If we do not measure what's happening, we cannot assure residents that their rights are being protected. Here are some simple plans to finish the work we've started. Clear procedures for county staff that limit civil immigration enforcement activity. Training and clearly posted information so every department applies the rules consistently. Tracking and annual reporting of ICE requests to ensure transparency. These steps are entirely consistent with Illinois law. They give employees clarity and give residents confidence. They keep our focus on our responsibilities and not federal failures. Immigrants are not the enemy. The idea that we should fear our neighbors is a real threat to safety. DuPage County can reject that falsehood. Your resolution declared who you are, and now we have our chance to show what we will do. Let's put our stated values into action and ensure that every person who calls DuPage home can live without fear. Thank you for your time.
Helen Shrew.
My name is Beth Scroggs. I live in Elmhurst, and I have worked or lived in DuPage County for the past 15 years. My family are business owners here, and I want to speak about why protections matter for our local economy. My husband owns and manages 2 restaurants and a food truck. A few weeks ago, he was excited for his food truck to be part of a well-established 3-day street festival. This festival draws thousands of people over the past 18 years. It also happens to be located in a neighborhood that is known for its rich Mexican-American culture. No one came to the street festival this year. On Friday night, my husband sold 13 orders of food at a festival that normally draws hundreds of people each day. On Saturday was no better, and by Sunday, the festival organizers shut down the entire event. Every business owner involved lost money that weekend. And we are not the only businesses impacted by the presence of federal agents in our communities. Just last week, the Daily Herald reported that a family-run business, a cafe in Palatine, is closing after repeated visits from federal immigration agents frightened customers away. No one was arrested, but the damage was done. Fear emptied the dining room faster than an economic downturn ever could. The constant threat of ICE presence has frightened our communities. It prevents citizens and non-citizens alike from leaving their home, participating in community, and spending money at our local businesses. That's what happens when enforcement feels arbitrary and unchecked. It doesn't just affect undocumented families, it affects everyone, workers, business owners, citizens, customers, and children. I ask that you take action in ways that are within your control to reduce the economic impact that the constant presence of federal agents has on our communities. DuPage County has already affirmed the right to control the use of its property. The next step is clarity. Will the county post visible signage at facilities and parking areas, like Lake County has, stating that county property cannot be used for civil immigration enforcement without a judicial warrant? Clear signage is not symbolic. It's preventative. It tells the public, county employees, and enforcement agencies exactly where the boundaries are. It protects both residents and staff from confusion and conflict. You have the power to make sure county facilities are places of safety and not being used to facilitate fear. Let's protect our people, our local economy, and our public trust by making this resolution visible in the places where it matters most. Thank you for your time and your attention to this.
Recalling Helen Schrute.
My name is Helen, and I'm here because public safety cannot come at the cost of public trust. Drones. The sheriff's new drones policy allows powerful surveillance technology with minimum transparency. We know that drones can be life-saving in search and rescue missions, but without detailed written procedures for use, data retention, and disclosure, they also risk becoming silent tools of unchecked observation. Speaking for myself, I oppose using drones for surveillance. Wrong. That said, we're asking for a simple safeguard, one rooted in constitutional duty and evidence-based policing. Require a detailed, publicly accessible operating procedure for every stage of drone deployment: activation, monitoring, data storage, and destruction. Each flight should generate a mandatory public log that records the metadata, date, time, duration, purpose, legal basis, and outcome. These logs must be retained and open to the public through FOIA, so residents can verify the drones aren't being used in a way that cross constitutional lines and target particular communities. After the Supreme Court's recent ruling narrowing warrantless surveillance, local governments cannot wait for legislation to tell us what fairness should look like. DuPage County can set the standard for ethical technology use in requiring transparency before expansion. Transparency is what sustains legitimacy because people understand how surveillance is used. They are more likely to cooperate, not less. When there is no transparency, it breeds anxiety, withdrawal, and distrust. So my question to this board is this: will you commit today to directing the sheriff's office to create a publicly post a detailed operational policy and drone flight log access to the residents under FOIA and other clear retention timelines and whatever? Thank you.
The next three are Angel Terrell, Melissa Villanueva, and Jesse Gutierrez. First, Angel Terrell.
It's Angel, and I live in DuPage. I'm here to talk about ICE because practically every surrounding county around us has put meaningful legislation in place to protect its citizens from ICE, to protect the people that are coming into that county from ICE, clear signage. They are doing a lot, and we have done nothing. We put a resolution for it saying that we don't condone ICE, but that's like saying thoughts and prayers after a school shooting. It does absolutely nothing. So we need to actually step up and put some meaningful legislation in place to protect the people that live here, but not just that, to protect the economy, because who is going to come out here to DuPage knowing how much ICE activity is going on, knowing that rapid response workers are doing more to protect people than our own elected officials are doing? That's crazy. Parents are getting dragged out of school pickup drop-off lines by federal officials, and we are doing nothing to stop it. That's evil and insane. And why is that happening here? That's crazy. We need to step up. We need to do something. A 21-year-old kid was detained on this very campus, on a government county campus. That's crazy. We need to do something to stop that. We need to protect and serve. Don't worry about your upcoming election and who you're going to ostracize, because you're elected right now. So do your job right now. Thank you.
Melissa Villanueva.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa Villanueva. I'm the founder and CEO of Brewpoint Coffee, and I'm an Economic Development Commissioner for the City of Elmhurst. So first, I do want to applaud the proposals today to keep our community safe from ICE as a great first step, as many here are saying. I want to specifically be here to advocate on behalf of small business. I got a phone call last week from a fellow small business owner friend who she really needs to get her business off the ground. She's struggling, but she is terrified of being targeted by ICE and getting pulled away from her kids. She was crying on the phone, and this is the reality that we live in all communities. But imagine specifically in communities that are predominantly Hispanic, like Addison or Bensonville. Business owners are being hit by ICE, and when they are hit by ICE, when they post about it, when they talk about it, they are being accused of being politically motivated. And so now more than ever, they feel like they're standing alone. And that's the leadership that we need from the county board. Our business owners are afraid, especially business owners of color. And when our county leads, and when we work hand in hand with municipalities, our business owners won't need to stand alone anymore. So we can lead by leading campaigns to give no ICE signs and know your rights resources. We can lead by advocating to support small businesses in hard-hit areas. And we can lead by connecting and investing financial resources to hard-hit economic areas. So thank you again for these initial first steps. I look for the ongoing progress to keep our communities safe from ICE. And just to give an example, I'm putting together a Whistlemania event that I put out 3 days ago. And in 3 days, I already have 100 volunteers and over 1,000 whistles and supplies donated. Imagine when everyone here works together to keep us safe, organize amongst our communities, and when we work hand in hand together. This is what the community wants and needs, and we'll be alongside with you as you lead. Thank you.
Jesse Gutierrez.
Jesse Gutierrez from West Chicago. The economic policies of the Trump regime have proven to be wildly unpopular. Along with continuing to hurt workers with the government shutdown, blocking the release of the Epstein files, ICE activity, and violations of or attempts to violate various amendments of the Constitution, the polling of the Trump administration has reached new lows. And due to this, all signs point to the House and Senate being flipped in next year's elections, and possibly putting a stop to the excesses and corruption. And we know Trump is not above doing anything and everything to prevent that from happening. I am an engineer, and I fully believe in order to protect the machinery that is our democracy, we need to implement a preventive maintenance program. We need to predict what could break the machine and put in controls to prevent that. We need to do everything we can to prevent Trump and his Republicans from suppressing the vote. We have already seen his calls to gerrymander, first in Texas, other states supposedly about to do the same thing. What else could he do? Perhaps have a military or ICE presence at polling places? Disqualifying voters? Threatening vote by mail? Back in July, I stood before this board, warning that ICE was coming. I said, quote, Trump is not just going after undocumented immigrants with criminal records. I said we should do everything we can to prevent this cruelty from happening to innocent people. And what is going on now far exceeds what I predicted. So my question to the board is, what are we going to do to prevent voter disenfranchisement from happening? Are we talking with other state and local governments to see what steps they are taking? What are we doing to protect vote by mail? Now, more than ever, we need to protect our vote by mail process. What are we doing to make sure the status of registered voters is protected? 3 minutes is never enough to cover every talking point, but I pray that the board is having frank discussions about this. This is not a liberal versus conservative issue. This is not Democratic versus Republican. This is the rights of everyone here in this country. Thank you.
A maximum amount of 30 times has come, and I just want to let the board know there are 5 people who...
Motion to extend the time.
Okay, motion by Member Galassi, seconded by Member LaPlante.
Aye.
All in favor?
The next 3 are Rachel Eknan, I apologize, Judith Lucas, and Sarah Franlin Seaty.
Hi, I'm Rachel Eckhorn from Elmhurst, and I am the local group lead for the Elmhurst Moms Demand Action Group. I'm here today in support of the Memorial for Gun Violence Victims. Gun violence doesn't just take lives. It shatters families, friendships, and communities. For every victim, there are loved ones left behind, searching for a way to process unimaginable loss. A memorial gives them a place to grieve, to remember, and to remind all of us that these lives matter. It's not just a space for sorrow, it's a space for healing, reflection, and resolve to build a safer future. By establishing this memorial, we honor those we've lost and affirm our shared commitment to preventing further tragedy. Thank you.
Judith Lucas.
Thank you, Judy Lucas, DuPage County Coroner. I want to speak in support of the resolution and of all the wonderful suggestions that have been made by the members of the public today. Sorry, this issue has reached my office. In the middle of the night when the Black Hawk helicopters repelled agents down, and they raided an apartment building, breaking down doors, separating children from their parents, zip-tying toddlers, zip-tying every single person there. Less than a week's time, we had a young man in DuPage County take his life. A Latino man who was in this country about 2 years, lived with a number of people, Latino people, that spoke little to no English. That young man is not here today walking the streets for me to ask him how this affected him and if this led to the end of his life. But I don't think it's difficult for anybody to imagine that it had only caused additional stress on him. We must treat every single person with dignity, whether they were born in this country or not, whether they have papers or not. So I urge the board to take steps, to take the suggestions of everyone talking today, so we don't have to call another family in Mexico and tell them that their son will never come home. Thank you.
Sarah Franklin Searby. Sarah Franklin Searby.
Hello, good morning to the board. My name is Sarah Franklin Searby. I am a resident of DuPage County and have been for a few years now. And I am extremely concerned about the proposed DuPage County UAS policy, the unmanned aerial system policy, and I request with the strongest language that its approval is delayed and the policy is amended. I have several concerns with this existing policy. First is, where is the oversight in this policy? It allows the sheriff's office to authorize and investigate itself, an elected office, to investigate itself, but research shows that perceived fairness and transparency are what determine public trust in law enforcement. Would the board please consider creating an external review committee to audit drone deployments and publish quarterly public reports, or a similar measure as some of my companions have already suggested? Another thing I'd like to bring to our attention is on page 3, when we talk about the DuPage County Sheriff's Office may not use the UAS to gather information except, and then lists the provisions. The third one, item C, it provides under reasonable suspicion, and item B, immediately before it, allows use with a warrant based on probable cause for a period of 45 days. This is plenty. This, if anything, I think it could be reduced. 45 days is an extraordinary long amount of time to fly a drone, to surveil. It leaves way too much room for data to be collected on people who have done nothing wrong and don't deserve to be surveilled. But more problematic than that is the first item, item A, that specifically says, to counter a high risk of a terrorist attack by a specific individual or organization if the United States Secretary of Homeland Security determines that credible intelligence indicates a risk. We do not need to be a soapbox for partisan officials to ingratiate themselves with an autocratic administration. This, more than anything, needs to be stricken from this policy, and I suggest we review all items because we simply have not seen the evidence that our privacy can be protected, and this allows far too much for that. Thank you for your time.
Donna Conrad. Donna Conrad. Ruben Maciel Perez.
Hi. Many people spoke today about a lot of important issues here in DuPage, and I'm thankful that they have the ability to do so. However, I can't help but wonder how many more voices would speak up if this board actually accommodated their constituents more. So I asked, is there a reason why both county board meetings are at 10 a.m. in the morning for both meetings during the month? Many people work during the mornings. There's no reason why there cannot be an evening and a morning meeting to allow more voices to be heard. I work with kids, I work as an educator, and I'm willing to stay over to make sure I accommodate their needs. There's no reason why public servants are not able to do the same thing, especially because you guys were elected by people. So I hope the board considers this and adjusts accordingly, because there's no reason why this isn't the case already. Thank you.
Donna Conrad. Donna Conrad.
Morning. My name is Donna Conrad. And I'm another person that wants to speak about very, very broken immigration system. I realize that a great deal of this is federal, state issues, but I think there are things that DuPage County can do. We're pretty much in the thick of it. We have a broken system. It takes so much time and so much money for people to do the right way. I do have, my son-in-law was born in Turkey. He achieved citizenship in the United States. He moved here when he was in college. He's 45 now. He's been a citizen for 2 years. He had a good job where he could take off time and he could afford the time and money that was involved and the extreme amount of paperwork. Not everyone can do that. So what we're left with is a system that is sorely understaffed, obviously at the federal level. We need funding. We need funding to help with the judges in the immigration system and with the lawyers so that people can be processed through the proper channels. Instead, we often punish the individuals who've tried, but we, in some ways, reward the companies that bring individuals in and don't follow the processes that cause a lot of this. And now we have embarked on an insanely inhumane and cruel, unsustainable attack on the residents who have just come here for a piece of the American dream. I'm asking for your help. DuPage County needs to help protect its residents. I'm asking also that each of you go back into your own districts and see what you can do in any way that you can help and maybe get back to us about how that's going. And my last question is my son-in-law safe? Are my grandchildren safe?
There's no more public comments, Rose.
Okay, if the board has received public comment via our online portal per board policy, those comments were provided to members yesterday so they could be reviewed. Comments submitted electronically will be included in the minutes of this meeting. Okay, and we're going to move on to the Health Department's budget presentation, and I would invite Adam Forker to the podium.
Good morning. I'm pleased to present the Health Department's 2026 budget to you this morning. I know you have a heavy schedule, so I will move quickly, but there's a few highlights that I think are worth your attention. 2025 has really been a remarkable year for the DuPage County Health Department. It was our 80th birthday. We celebrated 80 years of service to the community. With help from our Board of Health and our community partners, we launched a new 5-year strategic plan. And of course, we opened the Crisis Recovery Center, which is a major milestone for our organization, our community, for DuPage County. So for 8 decades, we've worked to promote the health and well-being of all of our residents. And I think, with the strong leadership we have, the deep partnerships we have, and despite the many challenges that we do face, DuPage continues to be rated as the healthiest county in Illinois. So just a few highlights that reflect the impact of your continued support for us, just a glimpse of the work that our budget enables. So I'll walk through a few quick highlights and we'll get to the budget numbers. Next slide, please. So some of our foundational programs, our Vaccines for Children program, we'd administered over 3,000 vaccines this year to more than 1,100 kiddos in DuPage. Vaccines continue to be one of the most safe and effective tools for helping them get a healthy start. Our communicable disease teams investigated over 7,000 disease reports and over 230 outbreaks this year. That's across schools, healthcare settings, long-term care, daycares, so protecting some of our most vulnerable residents. And then our environmental health team has conducted over 18,000 inspections at food facilities, events, pools, and spas. So again, preventing illness, supporting local businesses to operate successfully and safely. Next slide, please. I do want to talk about maternal and child health. This is one of the most important things we could be focusing on. Supporting healthy pregnancies, childhood development is a core priority issue for local public health, it's one of the most valuable investments we could be making in the future health of our community. So a couple examples of what we're doing. Recently, we launched a new doula program. We've had some state support for that. It's very new and it's very intensive. We've supported 3 births so far this year, when there's 4 more that should occur by the end of this year. Our Smile Squad, that's our mobile dental clinic that travels around, visited more than 130 schools the last school year. It's 11,400 dental services delivered on-site to more than 4,000 DuPage kids. That helps those families meet all those school requirements, directly boosts the health of those kids as well. I'm very excited about one of our newest programs. It's called Basics DuPage. It is entering its 2nd year. This promotes 5 simple practices to support healthy development birth from ages 0 to 5. This program has great potential for long-term impact on the health of our community. We've just started this. We've got over 700 children enrolled. We got 20 different partner organizations supporting us. And we're really just starting to be ready to get the word out about this. So we've launched an awareness campaign that has these basics corners. We're installing information and giving out free books, and we're putting that in clinics, libraries, laundromats that you can see there in the picture. And I'm really excited. We should have 26 of these corners established by the end of the year. And we also, thanks to our friends at We Go Together for Kids in West Chicago, have launched our first public art campaign to support this project. So I'm really excited about that as well. Next slide, please. And of course, we're incredibly responsive to the needs of our community. And I'll talk for a couple minutes about our opening of the Crisis Recovery Center this fall. So we kicked off, these numbers are really about the launch. We kicked off the ribbon cutting on August 13th. Many of you got to be there with us, as well as 260 other local leaders, elected officials, business partners, and more. And that followed the next 2 days with open houses where we brought another 300 plus folks in. So in those 3 days, we had 600 local leaders and community partners come through and see the space. We got out more than 18,000 print and promo materials to try to get the word out. And we generated at least 67 media stories regionally that we're aware of in those 3 days of activity. And then we have our community presentations, call this the Speakers Bureau. Our team will travel to wherever to give a CRC update and make sure people understand what it is, how to use it, how it helps their families. So we've done 30 of those, reaching more than 600 community members as well. But again, this is all about the launch. I'm sure you're interested. We opened September 2nd. How is it going? It's going incredibly well. We're off to a very strong start. We've completed 332 assessments on site in less than 7 weeks. We've served 65 youth on site. So we have significantly expanded our reach of crisis care services in just a matter of weeks, both for youth and adults. The referrals, they're coming from families, they're coming from police, they're coming from the jail, EMS, hospitals. When people call 988, we're talking them through that. Sometimes that's the source of referral. So it's really getting off to that strong start that we hoped it would. Importantly, the withdrawal management service was sort of the last to open. It just opened a couple weeks ago, but it is already seeing some steady admissions in just those first couple weeks. But the adult pod, the youth pod, the sobering services have been open since September 2nd, and they are all being used by the community already. So I want to give a shout out to our staff. They've been incredibly passionate and adaptable as we've delivered this new care model. Lori Carnahan and Kathy Carey, the Director of Crisis Operations, have been steadfast leaders. They are now a sought-after speaker team across the state of Illinois because we really are leading the way with this model of care. And so we do plan to share more statistics and reports about the CRC's impact in the coming days. We really kind of want to get at least a quarter's worth of data under our belts and analyze that. So you probably see that after the 1st of December or the new year, but we will make sure, of course, that this board and the public are aware of the impact that it's having as quickly as we can. All right, so those are my highlights. We'll get to the budget. Next slide, please. Before the specific numbers, just a few assumptions. We always take a very conservative approach grounded in our actuals for revenue and expense trends from prior years. It's also informed by known contract awards we have and those associated spending plans. So what you'll see in our budget is that revenue side key drivers include a very modest CPI-based increase for the environmental help, service fees, the property tax increase to new construction only that follows the county's lead, investment earnings projected at just over $1 million. And for us, a priority focus is mission-aligned funding opportunities that is not just grants, but we're really focused on strengthening our clinical service billing and our revenue cycle management processes. There's a lot of opportunity for there. That's one of our top strategies. On the expense side, some of those drivers include a 3% pool for annual salary merit increases, higher IMRF and health insurance costs, aligned with county's projections for that as well. And then, a real feature for us is focused on business process improvements. We've looked a lot at automation and system and contract consolidation the last few years. So led by our business services team and our IT lead, we've really been able to realize some savings through those types of moves the last couple of years, and we're committed to building on that progress. All right, next slide is my last slide. So we'll get to the numbers. So our total budget for FY26 is $94.1 million. That is down over 30% from last year. That's a shift that is expected and reflects two big things: the completion of the CRC construction and a reduction in our grant applications line. So that's sort of a contingency money in, money out line, where during COVID that number needed to increase and peaked at $50 million so that we could capture those emerging opportunities, state and federal grants coming in to respond to those COVID activities. If you recall, it was stand up a testing site, stand up a mass vac clinic. There was a lot of dollars flowing through for that. So we're now scaling this back to reflect what we believe is a more stable environment, while also maintaining some flexibility for unforeseen or emerging issues. Hopefully, I'm not here talking about things like bird flu or anything like that, but if we were, we've got some flexibility built there. What you see on the revenue side, intergovernmental funding drops by close to $16 million, so that is mostly the ARPA coming off, some of our DECIO grants that were tied to the CRC construction, and there is about $1 million in other grants that have expired or reduced from the state and feds this year. Patient care revenue goes up significantly, over $3 million. That's driven by the expansion of services with the CRC and those operations. And then our expense side, mostly that increase is driven by personnel costs, $2.6 million. So again, that's merit increases, that's higher IMRF, but this is also the first full year of CRC operations. So we phased in hires over the last couple of years and staggered that. So that's some of that absorption that you're seeing there. Capital spending is a big shift number you see. That drops by $20 million. Again, that's due to the CRC project completion. When we look at our base operating budget, if you take out CRC, you take out the strategic grant contingency line, it's balanced at $61.1 million, which is actually up slightly from the year before, like just maybe less than 2%. But we must look at the full picture because, again, this is our first full fiscal year with the CRC fully loaded in there. And so what you see, the big takeaway is we anticipate a $3 million gap, which we plan to close using fund balance. It's important to note that this gap is not what I would consider a shortfall. It is a strategic investment that we have planned and prepared for. It's about taking care of our residents, and the health department reserves are there in place to support the CRC operations as we launch services for the first time. So I do want to thank you for your continued support of the health department. It's been really incredible. It allows us to advance our mission, supporting the health of our residents. A budget, we know it's not just numbers. It reflects for us our values, our readiness to lead. While we're proud to be recognized as the healthiest county in Illinois, there's a lot of work ahead, and we're focused on ways to build on that. And I really believe that we can continue to ensure that DuPage remains the place to raise a family in Illinois. I'm grateful to practice public health in DuPage County every day. I can promise you that. Our impact is real. So, of course, I'm ready for questions with that.
Member Cahill.
Thank you. Thank you for that presentation. That's excellent. I'm so pleased about the CRC. My question just relates to Medicaid. So are you making sure that you're billing and collecting all of Medicaid? And I know that there is a delay in funds in terms of Medicaid dollars. And so I was thinking that maybe your timing on this, you haven't collected all that was probably billed from prior months. So can you speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we routinely bill Medicaid. It's really what we specialize in as a safety net provider. We are very effective, higher than 90% success rate with billing Medicaid. But to your point, yes, there is always a lag. So our finance leadership monitors that closely. The MCOs pay pretty well. The state, there's different ribbons of Medicaid. You just got to monitor each payer kind of differently, and some take longer than others. But we're getting most of what we're expecting from Medicaid right now.
Member Heather.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to take a moment and acknowledge your leadership, Adam. Thank you, Lori, for all the hard work. Thank you, Sarah, for being here. This has been an incredible year for you all, and you have worked so hard, and everything just went effortlessly well. So thank you for your leadership, and also thank you for your foresightedness. You didn't just go into the CRC and with a mindset that we'll figure out what happens. You have been very methodical. You've been very procedure-oriented, and I applaud your leadership and your vision in making sure this is a successful facility that becomes a model for the rest of the country. So thank you for that.
It's very kind. It's a team effort.
Member Eckhoff, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Chair. About 25, 30 years ago, there was a big push with organizations like MAD and AIM to curb DUIs and alcohol abuse and driving while drunk. And about 10, 15 years after that, the opioid crisis came out. And I remember when Bob Berlin and Jim Mendrick were trying to get into schools to talk about it, there was a lot of resistance to that because people didn't want to admit there was a problem at a school or in a house. And I talked to Bob about that, and he says it's going to take a long time, just like alcohol did, to change people's attitudes and the way they act. And I've brought it up a couple of times over the last few years, but I think we're at a point in our society where social media and cell phone use and things like that are also becoming a health crisis. And now that we've got the CRC, I think it would be a good idea, I've brought up a couple of times, if the health department develops some type of policy to maybe direct school districts and parents about proper use of cell phones and social media and how to maybe keep their kids off of it and go out and play. Because I know this will come as a shock to some of you, but I actually agree with the governor about putting the phone away when kids are in class. And I couldn't believe, since I don't have any kids, that they were allowed to use it so often. So it seems to me that that would be, in terms of mental health, now that we get the CRC, that's somewhere where the health department could be a leader in the state and start probably what's going to be a very long process, but something we've done with two other threats to public health to curb that. So I just wish I knew somebody on the board that I could talk to about that.
I appreciate the comment. I'm interested in that. I agree with your assessment. Social media, cell phone use has reached, I don't like to use the word crisis. It's definitely a problem. And so I'd be happy to look into that and say, what are the policy solutions?
So I'll probably be here next year, so I'll ask you the question again, so tell me what you've done when you come back.
All right, you got it.
All right.
Member Galassi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I also just want to applaud all your efforts to getting the CRC up and running and everyone's leadership, including the chair and Member Tornatore, everyone involved. I just was curious. So we have a $3 million shortfall in the 26 budget. Where do you see that? And let me start by saying I agree with you that this is the proper investment for our community. I'm just wondering, though, do you foresee that again in 27? Do you think there's methods in place to reduce that gap, or just, if you could look a little further long term, what do you anticipate?
Absolutely. Yeah, we've been looking at 5 and 10 years out, this whole time, and knowing that the initial 1 or 2 years, so possibly in 27, we might need to be leaning on some of our current position of financial strength. But we have several levers and strategies that we are pursuing. They are in progress. So I think of things like, first and foremost, I mentioned, I think internally, we're very focused on our clinical services billing. So we talked about Medicaid. It's something we're pretty good at. There's always room for improvement, but there's also the opportunity to be looking at what can commercial insurance and starting to have commercial contracts do for us. So this year we have our first commercial contract. We're experimenting with some commercial billing on our public health side for our tuberculosis clinic and STD clinic to kind of see what's possible. And we're looking to bring that over to the behavioral health side as well. So that's one of the top strategies. One of the challenges is that commercial insurance doesn't recognize mental health care the same way that they do physical health care. So Medicaid has bizarrely become a leader in what they cover, and commercial insurance has lagged behind. Heather O'Donnell, who's on our team, is in Springfield right now trying to work on helping to change that law. So we are looking at both what do we need to do revenue cycle management-wise to step up our game, but we also are doing some state-level advocacy to make sure the laws that help bear the fruit of that. That's one strategy. We're also looking at partnership models where we've had some progress. I think everyone's familiar with the growth of the local 708 boards and the money that they're raising locally. We have one 708 board that's already pledged support. We have a second that's close. So that's something that as those come online, we're working to collaborate with them and see what kind of support they can offer. And then I think the other one worth mentioning is, and we've talked about it, that there might be private entities and philanthropic entities that are interested in supporting this movement as well, and we have seen that so far this year. So launching the DuPage Health Matters Foundation, our 501c3, this is really our first year doing this kind of work. It's not something I plan to get into in public health, but we're doing it, and it's moving along, and I'm proud to say that the foundation has raised somewhere in the neighborhood of $500,000 already this year in our first year of doing it. So those are a few of the levers. There's even some other smaller details, things we're pushing, but absolutely we know it's not a sustainable practice to live on reserves. So it's intentional by design. We've got a lot of work to do.
Okay, great. Sounds like you have a good plan and path forward, so I appreciate those comments. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? All right, thank you, Adam.
You're welcome.
Okay, now we're going to move on to the Metro annual budget presentation. I'd like to invite Wes Beckton to the podium. One of the most important issues in our region is the funding and operations of our public transit system. Each year in the fall, our DuPage representatives on the Transit Board present their budgets. Today, we welcome our DuPage County representative on the Metro Board, Wes Beckton. Wes, it's been a very interesting year, and we look forward to your presentation. Have you solved the financial issue?
Madam Chair, it was accurate 30 minutes ago. It may have changed since
30, I would say 3. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me here today to talk about Metro. And I also want to thank you for hosting our Metro board meeting here in this room back in March 19th of this year. Madam Chair was generous enough to come and say a few words to the board, and we really appreciate the hospitality. Today, I'm going to talk to you very briefly about the operating budget, the capital budget, a couple of things specific that are happening in DuPage County, and then I'll also end with just a few additional comments. So there is a lot happening with transportation, and there may even be more happening later today, but the budget that we are proposing is a $1.1 billion budget. Here's the good news. For 2026, Metro will not need any additional funding. That's because we've been extending the use of COVID relief dollars, and we've also been prioritizing hiring, delaying use of discretionary funds, delayed service expansions, and just achieving some better operating results. So 2026 is not going to be a problem. The problem starts in 2027 and beyond. You've got your budget books, which if you have them on page 6, 8, 9, talk about the details and the specifics involved in where the revenue is going to be generated. But just to highlight our capital budget program is at $575 million. This is to take care of maintaining the system and also updating and upgrading some of our bridges. A fun fact, Metro operates over 926 bridges. Of those 926, we own 446 of them, and of those 446 bridges, 227 are over 100 years old. They are safe, but they're old. And if we have the plan to improve 210 of them, which need improvement, if we were to do that with existing funds, that would take us about 90-some years. Not realistic. So we have a plan in place to upgrade those bridges. It's important to note Metro has no debt. And depending on what comes out of Springfield with the latest legislation, we may be requesting some support from the federal government to allow us to expedite the upgrades on those bridges. We're following the Public Health Department. I think it's important to note that in DuPage County this year so far, we've had 8 safety blitzes. creating awareness, suicide awareness, station awareness in combination with Operation Lifesaver, because it's a real issue. It's a real issue, and whatever we can do to prevent someone from losing their life, we're all in to make sure that we're supporting that. Lastly, I would just add that our 3 busiest stations in DuPage County continue to be on the Burlington Northern, Route 59, and Naperville. The third one, it's a tie between on the UP West, Elmhurst, and then Downers Grove. Those are also the top three are in the top 10 of all of the Metro system. So you've had a busy morning, still morning. I will stop there and see if there's any questions.
Does anybody have any questions for Wes? Member Zay.
Thank you for coming out. Yeah, I mean, we're hearing about this, shortfall. What bothers me is that I see, how's your ridership? Because all I see is Metra and Pace doing something, and all I see is the CTA opening new platforms, doing more things, and it seems like the suburbs are going to have to bail out the city once again. And I know you guys actually put price increases in for your fares. Pace is cutting back on service, but the CTA seems not to be doing any of that. So how is this mixture going to affect you guys when it comes forward?
Yeah, I really can't speak to the CTA. Let me address the question about the fare increase. That was an RTA mandated fare increase of 10%. Metros, as you'll see in your board book, is between 13 and 50%. Ironically, it's due to rounding errors we have to collect to the quarter, and it just works out to be between 13 and 15%. It was highly publicized, about $48 million Metra transferred to the CTA as a bailout, as directed by the RTA. We have no ability to control that. We have no levers at Metra. So don't know if that answers your question.
I know, but it seems frustrating that, you guys are doing your part, but then you have to send $48 million to CTA. They're talking in Springfield about bailing them out, adding taxes. And it seems like, our regional, you guys, Metro affects us, and DuPage probably the most, are doing your job, but you're being mandated to, send stuff in and bail out the city of Chicago and the CTA. Which, again, you see them just every week building something new, opening new platforms, doing whatever, but I never hear anything else. And I basically, it feels like to me is that the suburbs, again, are paying the price to help the city of Chicago when it comes to transit.
Yeah, again, I really can't speak to the larger picture. I can tell you that Metra's doing everything we can do to control our expenses and to operate within our means. What happens at the RTA and the state, again, beyond the scope of what I'm here to present today.
Thank you.
Okay, Member Covert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I want to thank you for coming out today with your presentation and making us aware of the issues. And it is an issue ever since COVID with people going remote. They're not taking transportation or public transport to get to work, trains, and everything. And in my head, the wheels were turning, and I was like, what if we charge these businesses, fees for having people work from home a certain amount? If you have employees that work from home, then maybe you should compensate over the loss of revenue. But again, that's a federal issue. That's a state issue. That's not our jurisdiction here. So, but the wheels were turning in possible solutions to this issue. My question is, I'm not very clear as to what your specific ask is of today. Is today just to let us know that there's going to be a fare increase? What can we do? Is there a specific ask that you have of the county board?
This may be the one presentation where there's not an ask. Not looking for money, other than to tell you that this is what's going on. I will paraphrase what Jim Derwinski, the CEO of Metra, has said publicly a few times. Oftentimes we view public transportation different than a service. So, for example, we don't charge based on the number of garbage cans that the garbage people collect. We don't charge based on the number of fire runs that the fire department goes on, or number of police by the number of runs they go on. We need to start viewing public transportation as a service. It's something that serves the entire community. And that's a mindset shift. And when we can do that, I think a lot of these other issues may go away. Ridership accounts for that $1.1 billion, about $325 million of that. That's all that's coming system-generated revenue. The rest are coming from other means, including regional sales tax, given to Metro through the RTA.
Thank you.
Member Gajewski.
Yeah, thank you. And I guess I'll give you an ask then. But a couple of things. The Westmont Hinsdale, I think you're getting ready to start that express trains down there, stopping at Westmont and Hinsdale. Is that getting ready to start, the express trains?
You know what? I'll have to circle back
And
to
that's
you on
fine.
the
You can
express
circle
train.
back. And then I reached out to you. I didn't get anything back when I was working with Westmont back at the end of August. We did get Senator, or I guess call him Senator Dillard, Chairman Dillard, also reached out to the exec director, but looking into the possibility of, you mentioned Route 59 and Downers Main, two of the top three. That's because of the parking structures they added to that. I think, Westmont is looking to potentially add more parking, which would help for Metro and get better express trains. So looking into the trains that come from Naperville, Lyle, Downers, Maine, and then they go into the city. They're express in and out every 25 minutes. Looking to add that next stop to Westmont, maybe picking up a couple times there on those express trains, and then vice versa coming out. So I think the mayor of Westmont's met with your exec director, but there's also, I think you guys are looking to do a Westmont Hinsdale. And these are all in my district. That's the only reason I'm asking, because the mayors are reaching out, and it seems like that's something. But if you could help advocate for the Metro to maybe include Westmont on the going out and in for the ones that go Lyle, Naperville, Maine, Downers, and then just get back to me on, or the board on when that Westmont Hinsdale one is going to start up. I think they're going to do like 2 express trains, which will help versus having to stop at every stop.
Awesome. I'll ask Dimitri Skofis, who's here from Metro, to look into that. But I'll do it one better. I would love to invite you down to Metro, all of you, to come down to Metro. A couple of you have already taken it. You ever driven a train before?
Oh, absolutely. I commuted down there for any
No,
years.
have you ever driven a train?
Oh, no, I've never driven one.
We will have you drive a train under supervision. But if you want to come down, let us know. We will arrange a tour for anyone.
And I will invite my mayors from my district who are looking at this to go down and take
No,
those tours.
seriously, you should.
Yeah.
Madam Chair has done that. I got some
highly
pictures
recommend
of her
it.
doing
Yes, you do.
I do like the holidays when you have the decorated trains going back and forth. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Wes. We're very grateful for your representing DuPage County for Metro. Oh, I'm sorry. Member LaPlante has a question.
Thank you, Chair. I would just like to say I really appreciate you describing this, switching the concept, how we conceive of public transportation as a service. I think that is hugely important, and people really need to be aware of that. That's what makes the Chicagoland area a world-class destination. You can't have a world-class place to live and work unless you have the public infrastructure for public transportation. So I really appreciate you focusing on that and making people aware of this absolutely vital service that we all rely on. So thank you for that, and please keep pushing that message. And also, I really want to drive a train.
Come on down.
Awesome.
Seriously, let us know. We will get you down.
Okay.
It's fun, isn't it?
It's a
fun.
lot of, highly recommend it.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Highly, yes. Very few things impress my 4 sons. Thank you, Wes.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, I will just add to what some of the questions that were being asked of Wes that he really couldn't answer. And the legislation is actually probably going to be dropping today. I want you guys to know that DuPage, with the other collars, has fought very hard to have fair representation in terms of governance. We are still fighting that fight. We're waiting to see what they're going to drop in terms of revenue. So we feel very strongly that the collar counties and DuPage have a fair say in what happens, particularly with the new governance board and more monies being spent, because we do have many opportunities in DuPage and the collars for expansion, and we certainly want to have a fair say in oversight. Okay, I want to begin today, well, I guess we began a while ago, by acknowledging the teamwork and collaborative dynamics we enjoy on the county board. I want to praise members here who work so hard on behalf of their constituents and on behalf of all of DuPage County. I do not take your efforts or your opinions for granted. I respect each and every one of you. As a result of that respect, I also acknowledge that we do not see every issue the same way. I don't think there's a democratically elected body of individuals who agree on everything. On today's agenda is a resolution that I am putting forth that takes a position on the recent actions of the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, agents in our region. As I have said previously, I believe, and I think many of you agree, that arresting suspects with known criminal backgrounds with judicial warrants is one thing. But too often, ICE operates in our county and in our region. They have exercised a radical profiling in which law-abiding residents are simply snatched off the street and detained. The resolution I am presenting today echoes many of the comments made on this floor, asking for due process and citing the federal failure to provide a legal, achievable immigration process for people who want to become citizens of the United States. You heard today, and I don't think it can be emphasized enough, it is an incredibly expensive process to become a citizen of the United States. Today's resolution seeks due process and calls for an end to the operations that are impacting one segment of our law-abiding residents disproportionately, based only on their race or culture. I ask for your support, and I know that we will have respectful, thoughtful discussion. On another important matter, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has announced federal food aid will not go out after November 1st. That's Saturday. If the government shutdown continues, according to our latest figures, almost 40,000 DuPage households, or 76,000 individuals in DuPage County, receive supplemental nutrition assistance, or SNAP, program benefits to purchase food. Member Greg Schwarzy and Member Paula Deacon Garcia as Chair and Vice Chair of Human Services Committee, and the Community Services Director, Mary Keating, and I will be working on a plan to respond to the significant halt to important support for our residents in need. Finally, a calendar reminder. He's left. The County Board typically meets on the second and fourth Tuesdays of the month. In November, the second Tuesday of the month falls on Veterans Day, a federal holiday, my parents' wedding anniversary. I always remember. As such, county offices will be closed that day. We have scheduled our first county board meeting of November to take place at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, November 12th. As usual, this is an open public meeting and all are invited. Okay, let's move on to the consent items. I seek a motion to approve the consent agenda items.
Second.
Okay, 25, 26, 27. DuPage County Board regular minutes, Tuesday, October 14th, 2025. 25, 25, 05, 10, 10, 2025 pay list. 25, 25, 17, 10, 15, 2025 auto debit pay list. 25, 25, 68, 10, 17, 2025 auto debit pay list. 25, 25, 74, 10, 17, 2025 pay list. 25, 25, 92, 10, 21, 2025 pay list. 25, 25, 03, County Recorder Monthly Revenue Statement, September 2025. 25, 25, 76, Treasurer's Monthly Report of Investments and Deposits, September 2025. 25, 25, 90, change orders to various contracts as specified in the packet. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And we'll move on to County Board and Vice Chair Childress.
Madam Chair, point of order.
Yes, Member Zay?
Yes, I'd like to amend the agenda to move 8 County Board to after 20 Transportation. This is I think there's going to be some possible long discussions on one of the resolutions. Our staff's already been here a long time. I'd like to spare them that additional time and then give enough time for the County Board to actually discuss that without worrying about finishing all the resolutions for all the other committees that are coming forward.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then we will suspend your until the end. Thank you,
Thank you.
Vice Chair Childress. Okay, Finance and Member Deacon Garcia.
Okay, I'm just going to go on to the vote. I make a motion to approve FIR 016025, acceptance and appropriation of the Help America Vote Act Polling Place Accessibility Grant, Program Year 26, in the amount of $3,686.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Garcia.
Aye.
Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert.
Aye.
Member Desart.
Aye.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. And Member Galassi.
Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 016525, acceptance and appropriation of interest earned on investment for the DuPage Animal Funds Unrestricted Program Year Grant. This is in the amount of $1,471.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 018525, authorization to transfer and appropriate up to $1,060,975 in additional funds from the Recorder Document Storage Fund to the County Automation Fund for fiscal year 2025.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 018025, additional appropriation for the Veterans Assistant Commission Fund, Company 4500. This is in the amount of $41,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 018225, additional appropriation for the 1993 Jail Refunding Bond Debt Service Fund, Company 7000, in the amount of $28,960, and authorization to transfer funds from the 1993 Jail Refunding Bond Debt Service Fund to the General Fund Special Accounts Fund in the amount of $28,961.54 for the fiscal year 2025.
We'll need a roll call, please.
Member Garcia.
Aye.
Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart.
Aye.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. And Member Galassi.
Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 018325, additional appropriation for the 1993 Stormwater Bond Debt Service Fund, Company 7000. This is the amount of $10,594, and authorization to transfer funds from the 1993 Stormwater Bond Debt Service Fund to the Stormwater Management Fund 1600. This is the amount of $10,593.46 for fiscal year 2025.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 018425, additional appropriation for the 2015B Drainage Bond Debt Service Fund, Company 7000, in the amount of $284,571, and authorization to transfer funds from the 2015B Drainage Bond Debt Service Fund, Accounting Unit 17, to the General Fund Special Accounts Fund, Company 1000, Accounting Unit 1180, in the amount of $284,570.89 for fiscal year 2025.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIR 018725, intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the Township of Winfield in the use of ARPA interest funds for various township building improvements for the amount of $14,064 from ARPA interest.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 018825, budget transfers 10/28/2025, various companies and accounting units.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIP 001025, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Rock, Fusco, and Connolly LLC to provide consultation services related to collective bargaining matters for labor negotiations for the county board for the period of December 1, 2025 through November 30th, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $150,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIP 001125, approval of a contract purchase order issued to Nugent Consulting Group LLC to provide risk management consulting services for the Finance Department for the period of December 1, 2025 through November 30th, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $65,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIR 018625, amendment to Resolution FIP 001125, issued to Nugent Consulting Group LLC to provide risk management consulting services for the Finance Department for a one-time price increase of the hourly rate from $205 to $210.
Okay, we'll need a roll call, please.
Member Garcia.
Aye.
Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart.
Aye.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. And Member Galassi.
Okay, Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIP 001225, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Alliant Insurance Services, Inc. to secure cyber liability insurance for the county for finance, tort liability for the period of December 1, 2025 to December 1, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $137,191.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIP 001325, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Alliant Insurance Services, Inc. to secure excess liability insurance for the county and the Health Department for finance, tort liability for the period of December 1, 2025 to December 1, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $1,049,048.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
Make a motion to approve FIP 001425, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Alliant Insurance Services, Inc. to secure property insurance for the county and the Health Department for the Finance Department for the period of December 1, 2025 to December 1, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $397,747.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve FIP 001525, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order issued to Alliant Insurance Services, Inc., Safety National, to secure excess workers' compensation insurance for the county and health department for finance, tort liability for the period of December 1, 2025 to December 1, 2026 for a contract total amount not to exceed $202,996.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Garcia. Okay, Animal Services and Member Krajewski.
Thanks, Madam Chair. No report.
Okay, Development, Member Tornatori.
No report.
Okay, Economic Development and Member Yu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For economic development remarks, today I'm going to share a message from Lisa Shavak that despite funding uncertainty and the ongoing government shutdown, the work at WorkNet DuPage carries on, and on a day-to-day basis, great things are happening, including the following examples. One, a woman stopped by the center to use the computers and left with a new suit for her interview the next day, courtesy of the clothes closet WorkNet started with donations from Dooley Health and Care. Second, a gentleman who attended WorkNet's job search workshops landed the operations job he was looking for and then felt compelled to come back to last week's job search session to tell his story and encourage others. And lastly, a single mom of two attending nursing school who was able to get her car repaired as a result of a private donation facilitated by WorkNet and made by a WorkNet benefactor so that she could continue and finish her education. So we are proud of the impact WorkNet DuPage has, and we, including myself, appreciate the dedication of our staff during these tumultuous times. And now moving on, I moved on EDR 2-25, service agreement between the County of DuPage and Choose DuPage, contract date December 1, 2025 to November 30, 2027.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Aye. Member Cahill. Aye. Member Childress. Yes. Member Covert. Aye. Member Desart.
Aye.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Aye. Member Galassi. Aye. Member Garcia. Aye. Member Heather. Yes. Member Honig. Aye. Member Krajewski. Aye. Member LaPlante. Aye. Member Martinez. Aye. Member Ozog. Aye. Member Schwarzy and Member Tornatori.
Okay, thank you, Member Yu. Environmental and Member Heather.
No update at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay, Human Services and Member Garcia.
Me again. I make a motion to approve HSR 001825, DuPage Care Center rate increase to increase the per-patient day charges last fixed by Resolution HSR 001824, approved October 22nd, 2024, from $468 per day to $487 per day for standard custodial care, and from $487 per day to $506 per day for Alzheimer's special care, and from $668 per day to $695 per day for post-acute care, and $400 per day for respite care, effective December 1st, 2025 for the DuPage Care Center.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Garcia.
Aye.
Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart.
Aye.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. And Member Galassi.
Okay, Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve HSP 005025, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Metropolitan Industries, Inc. to provide, deliver, and install a Metropolitan Metro Prime pump system for the DuPage Care Center for the period of October 28, 2025 through October 27, 2026, for a total contract amount not to exceed $51,220.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve HSP 005125, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Valdez Supply to furnish and deliver restroom tissue, paper towels, and facial tissue as needed for the DuPage Care Center for the period of December 1, 2025 through November 30th, 2026, for a contract total not to exceed $69,000.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve HSP 005225, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Airgas USA LLC to provide liquid portable oxygen for the residents at the DuPage Care Center for the period of December 1, 2025 through November 30th, 2026, for a contract total amount not to exceed $50,000.
Second most favorable roll.
Leave is granted. Member Garcia.
I make a motion to approve HSP 005325, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Cisco Chicago, Inc. to provide primary food supplies and chemicals for the DuPage Care Center for the period of December 1, 2025 through November 30th, 2026, for a total contract amount not to exceed $1,363,020, under bid renewal 22082 DCC. This is the third and final optional renewal.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Garcia. We're going to move on to Judicial and Public Safety, and Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For my committee update, I just wanted to report that last week in JPS we did have a discussion about the drone. We did pass it, and I want to say about the drone is that I was one of the first drone operators for DuPage County for stormwater management, and drone technology has come a long way since then, and so has drone legislation, drone regulations, because back then I had to get a private pilot's license to fly this drone, and later I got a UAV license. So it's emerged. There are policies in place. The FAA is the regulating body, and there are state laws in place to regulate what you can and can't do with these drones. So I encourage members of the public to look into these policies as well as just the contract that we had with the Sheriff's Office. And in retrospect, I wish they would have included the drone policy in with the agenda item, but it will be posted when we do implement the new drone. And I want to say about this tethered drone is that it is basically stationary up in the air, and we have cameras posted on tall poles, so there really is not much difference, and they are only used in public places or places where they are allowed. There's no reasonable expectation of privacy when you're out in public, and there are regulations saying that we cannot use facial recognition in this drone technology. So I encourage members of the public to look into this a little bit further. I understand all these questions, but where you've been, Naperville's had this a tethered drone for a couple years now, and I haven't seen these questions about privacy in Naperville. So with that, I would like to move on JPSP-46-25, Recommendation for the approval of a contract to Adriana T. Anderson of the law firm of Anderson Attorneys and Advisors, LLC, to provide professional services as a child protection GAL attorney assigned to juvenile cases for the period of November 1st, 2025 through October 31st, 2026, for a contract total amount not to exceed $42,000.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Evans?
Yes.
Member Galassi? Yes. Member Garcia? Member Heather? Yes. Member Honig? Member Krajewski? Member LaPlante? Member Martinez? Member Ozog? Member Schwarzy? Member Tornatori? Member Yu?
Aye.
Member Zay? Member Cahill? Member Childress? Member Desart?
Aye.
Member Covert? Member Desart?
Aye.
And Member Eckhoff.
Okay, Member Evans.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move on JPSP-47-25, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Safeware, Inc. for the purchase of a tethered drone for the Sheriff's Office for the period of October 28th, 2025 through October 27th, 2030, for a contract total not to exceed $67,892.25.
Okay, Member Yu for a question. Or do we have a second? Somebody second first. Second. Okay, Member Yu.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So, all due respect to JPS Chair Member Evans. So this drone policy was actually sent to us after the GPS meeting had ended. And as you heard, there were many constituent concerns, and I received constituent texts and emails about this as well. And so at this point in time, I would like to move to delay this item, to table it, because I think we should review the unmanned aerial system policy. I don't know that every member of the county board has reviewed it, and it was just recently drafted October 17, 2025, and it has not yet been posted publicly. Many members of the community have not read this, and again, there were concerns based on, number one, the open search warrant being for 45 days, and second, the fact that there is no outside auditor or outside enforcement agency in the drone policy that is drafted as of October 17. So based on those two things, I would like to table this item.
Okay, we need to take a roll call on whether the question is, do you wish to table this item for a later meeting agenda?
Member Yu?
Aye.
Member Zay? No. Member Cahill? No. Member Childress? Yes. Member Covert? Member Desart?
Aye.
Member Eckhoff? No. Member Evans? No. Member Galassi? No. Member Garcia? Aye. Member Heather? Yes. Member Honig? Yes. Member Krajewski? No. Member LaPlante? No. Member Martinez? Aye. Member Ozog? Aye. Member Schwarzy? Member Tornatori? No. And Member Covert? 9 voting aye, 8 nay, 1 absent.
Member Covert?
Yes, I just do have a really quick question. Are we tabling this till the next county board meeting? And we're getting the information?
Just to be clear, that wasn't the motion. That would be a motion to postpone. So this was tabled. It's indefinite. If it's not picked up at the next meeting, it would disappear. So it's going to have to go on the agenda.
You're saying it would never come back to the agenda if we vote yes.
Okay, so point of order. Point of order. Hold on. Do we need to clarify the question and redo the roll call? Because it appears, I think, a lot of people were under the impression that this was just to put on the next agenda.
Yeah. So I can amend my motion because I simply want this to be reviewed and potentially amended. Not to say that this is tabled indefinitely. I'm asking for a review.
It was not tabled indefinitely. It was tabled until it's picked up. You could make a completely new motion. We can't reverse that. You could make a new motion to postpone.
Yeah, I did not ask for this to be tabled indefinitely.
Well, those were the words
no,
that
we didn't.
That's
you
what it
asked
means.
for it to be tabled. Tabled means until it's picked back up. Motion to postpone, or if you even say
on.
motion to table to a date certain, that is
Yes,
a motion to,
that's
that's a
what I want.
motion to postpone to a date certain, but when you don't state a date, it's tabled. When you use the word table.
Okay, can I amend my motion?
No.
Can I change my motion?
Hold
I'm
on.
sorry. Change the vote, yeah, the vote. Yeah, because I did not know.
Okay. Can anybody? I didn't accept a vote yet, so they can change their vote if they want. Okay. So
I can withdraw my motion.
The second has to be withdrawn.
you can't withdraw your motion.
Well, we can withdraw the second and then withdraw the motion.
I have to vote no. Jim,
Can we
I'm
retake
voting
the
no.
vote?
Well, then it would be a tie.
The chair did not accept the vote, and I wasn't looking, I think just Chad read it. I think she had not yet accepted the vote, so arguably.
So I can have the clerk retake the vote.
We can say that if you guys are saying you didn't understand what you were voting for, and the chair did not accept the vote.
I did not accept the vote. So I did not accept the vote. So to be clear, when we retake this vote, the motion on the table currently is to table this issue, which is indefinite, unfortunately.
No, not indefinite. It's just until it's picked back up again.
Could I comment on this? Can I comment on this discussion?
Hold on, please. Member Ozog?
If we go ahead with this and it's tabled and we don't have a date on it or a date certain or whatever, it would then be up to the department who brought it forward to bring it back. Can that happen?
Essentially, what our county board rules say that is if we don't pick it back up at the next meeting, it dies. So somebody needs to.
Can we motion after that it be brought up to the next meeting? If we go with this vote and then we vote to bring it up at the next meeting.
The issue could be brought up again, but the tabling of it would be done. That's to reconsider, members they. But just tabling it, if somebody picked it back up next meeting, it could be voted on. It's not tabled indefinitely. It just needs to be put on the agenda.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay, thank you for that clarification, because I was under the impression that we are tabling this until the next meeting and that we will have information available to the public and to us to make our decision for the next meeting. So I would like to change my vote because that's the impression I was under, and that's why I voted yes, because I thought we were going to get information, which is a fair point. People should know about it. Facial recognition, there's a lot of questions. But if this is to table indefinitely where it possibly dies, and this is something that the Sheriff's Department needs, I would have to change my vote to no.
We could have Chad call the roll again, and if it doesn't pass, then we could have it. Someone could do a new motion to postpone it to next time.
Can I withdraw?
No, she can't. We already voted. So you want me to retake the vote? Okay, we're going to retake the vote, and then another motion can be made after that.
Can I make?
Go ahead, take the vote.
Member Yu.
No.
Member Zay. Member Cahill.
No.
Member Childress. No. Member Covert.
No.
Member Desart.
I'm sorry, I had my hand raised and I wasn't called on. I'm not exactly sure what this vote is. We've gone back and forth several times. What exactly is this vote?
Member Desart, we tried to be really clear about it. So because many people were not clear on what they were voting on.
I understand, yes. So the vote is what? What is the question?
It's the same thing. You're voting on the same thing we voted on last time. For this item to be tabled.
Okay, then I vote yes. Table it.
Okay. All right.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez? Member Ozog? Member Schwarzy and Member Tornatori? No. Okay, so 1 aye, 16 nay, 1 absent.
With 1 yes and 16 noes, the motion fails. Is there another motion on the table?
Yes.
Member, do we give you a second chance here? Member you?
Yes. I would like to move to postpone or table to a date certain.
No, don't say table.
I thought I could say table to a date certain.
You want to, no. Are you going to put the date certain, put postponed?
Okay, fine. Motion to postpone this item. Because I know that the main reason why we're looking to do this tethered drone is for the President's Cup, right? And so I think we have a little bit of time, and that is why I'm seeking to postpone so that we can review the UAS policy. That's it.
Oh.
When's the next committee meeting?
Till November 12th.
November 12th.
Okay, so the vote is, do you, yes, support postponing this vote and bringing it back up at our next scheduled meeting, which is November 12th? 13th. 12th. It's okay. November 12th, the day after Veterans Day. How about that? Okay, roll call, please.
Member Yu?
Aye.
Member Zay? Member Cahill? No. Member Childress? Member Covert?
Aye.
Member Desart?
Aye.
Member Eckhoff? Member Evans? No. Member Galassi?
No.
Member Garcia? Aye. Member Heather? Yes. Member Honig? Aye. Member Krajewski? No. Member LaPlante? No. Member Martinez? Yes. Member Ozog? Aye. Member Schwarzy and Member Tornatori? No. 8 aye, 9 nay, 1 absent.
8 yes, 9 no. Okay, we have 8 yes, 9 no, 1 absent. Motion fails. It doesn't yet. Do you want to recheck that, maybe? I thought it was the opposite, too. Garcia was a yes. Again. Okay, so to clarify, it is 9 yes, 8 no, 1 absent, the motion postponed. Okay, so we'll bring it up at the next meeting. Okay, all right, I think we're back to Member Evans. That was it, last one? Okay, Legislative and Member Desart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It'll be a quick report. The legislature in Springfield is in they're in their veto session right now, and the federal government is doing nothing. We're in day 28 of the shutdown. Some of the negative ramifications, SNAP benefits are going to dry up by this weekend. Federal workers are set to miss paycheck number 2, and air traffic controllers are spread thin. And that is my report. Thank you.
Okay. Member Public Works and Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on PWP 3025 on a recommendation for the approval of a contract to Sutton Ford for an F-350 4x4 super chassis cab with service body attachment for Public Works for a period of October 28, 2025 through June 30, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $80,767.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Childress?
Yes.
Member Covert? Aye. Member Desart?
Aye.
Member Eckhoff? Member Evans? Aye. Member Galassi? Aye. Member Garcia? Aye. Member Heather? Yes. Member Honig? Member Krajewski? Member LaPlante? Aye. Member Martinez, Member Ozog, Member Schwarzy, Member Tornatori, Member Yu, Member Zay, and Member Cahill.
Okay, Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on PWP 3125 on a recommendation for the approval of a contract to Curry Motors Fleet for an Ford F-150 4x4 Super Crew Cab and a Ford Explorer 4x4 for Public Works for a period of October 28, 2025 to June 30, 2026 for a total contract amount not to exceed $83,477.
Okay, we'll need a roll call, please.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart.
Aye.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu. Member Zay. And Member Cahill.
Okay, Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on FMP 5125 on a recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Interstate Power Systems to provide parts and labor for scheduled preventive maintenance and on an as-needed basis to maintain and repair generators at the standby power facility for facilities management for a period of January 1, 2026 through December 31, 2028 for a total contract amount not to exceed $163,693.34.
Okay, roll call, please.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart.
Aye.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu. Member Zay. And Member Cahill.
Okay, thank you, Vice Chair Childress. On to Stormwater and Member Zay.
No report, Madam Chair.
Okay, and Technology, Member Covert.
No update, Madam Chair.
Okay, Transportation and Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, I also wanted to thank Wes Beckton, our Metro board member, for his presentation today about Metro's budget. After COVID, public transportation has certainly suffered ridership declines, but we are so fortunate to have public transit in this region. I come from Detroit, which was the epicenter of a town that made sure that many places lost public transportation in the 50s and 60s. And because we have it here, Chicago has maintained a really vibrant and diverse economy, and it's just so important. So I really appreciate Mr. Beckton's efforts for us. That's my committee update, and I'd move to approve 252623 amendment to DTR 4224, agreement between the County of DuPage, Illinois, and PACE for the establishment of a pilot rideshare access program for the Willowbrook Hinsdale Lake Terrace neighborhood, estimated county cost $500,000.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Ozog.
Aye.
Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. Member Cahill. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart.
Aye.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. And Member Martinez.
Okay, Member Ozog.
And in another aside, I want to thank the chair for making sure that this project is continued to be funded next year. Since we introduced this project earlier this year, the reception has been amazing, and the need was certainly there. So very happy after a good long while that we were able to get this off the ground, and hope we can continue it. And thank you. I move for approval of 252489, amendment to DTP 3A24, which increased the contract amount issued to Alfred Benesch by $138,568. Due to a Scrivener's error, the increase should have read $138,658, making the new contract amount $1,001,997, an increase of 16.06%.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTR 03325, intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and Downers Grove Township Road District for the Downers Grove Township 2025 Road Maintenance Program, no county cost.
Leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTP 5025, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Sephora Group Incorporated for professional Phase 1 preliminary engineering services for improvements along County Highway 4 Bloomingdale Road Bridge improvements over Chicago Central and Pacific Railroad for a contract total not to exceed $308,511. Professional services vetted through a qualification-based selection process in compliance with the Illinois Local Government Professional Services Selection Act.
Okay, leave is granted. Member Ozog.
Thank you. I move for approval of DTP 4925, recommendation for the approval of a contract issued to Matheson Right-of-Way Company for professional right-of-way negotiation services as needed for the Division of Transportation for a contract not to exceed $200,000. Other professional services not suitable for competitive bid, vendor selected pursuant according to DuPage County Code, Section 23531B.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Ozog.
Thank you.
Okay, before we go back to County Board and Vice Chair Childers, we'll take a 5-minute break. I know. Okay, Mr. Deputy Clerk, can you just take the roll to ensure quorum?
Member Cahill. Here. Member Childress. Member Covert. Member Desart. Member Eckhoff. Member Evans.
I'm sorry, I was muted. Here.
Okay. Member Eckhoff, Member Evans, Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Here.
And Member Zay.
Okay. Member Covert's here. Okay, we are going to go back to County Board and Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 7625 on the appointment of Jeremy Wang to the Downers Grove Sanitary District.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Member Childress.
Yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart.
Aye.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia. Member Heather. Member Honig. Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez. Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. And Member Cahill.
Okay, Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 7725, the resolution approving member initiative program agreements.
Okay, leave is granted. Member Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move on CBR 7825, resolution supporting due process and a fair path to citizenship.
Was there a second? Okay, any discussion? Okay, Member Evans.
I would just like to say that I support this proclamation and that it is to affirm that we will not assist ICE in their mission to enforce federal immigration policies. We've seen substantiated reports of our own U.S. citizens detained by ICE without warrants, probable cause, or even a reasonable suspicion that crime is afoot. As a former federal law enforcement officer, I spent months learning about constitutional law and due process to legally carry out my law enforcement duties. It is truly disturbing to me to see the tactics and lack of due process in these ICE arrests. It's also distressing to see our local law enforcement officers being caught in the tear gas that is being thrown into groups of protesters. When we have ICE at our county facilities, it brings chaos and distress to our county government and to those whom we serve. It interferes with government business and deters people from coming to our campus to conduct their business with us. These people include domestic violence victims and people in need of community services. This resolution is a statement to the people of DuPage County that we care about their rights and their well-being. I'm seeing reports of Asians being targeted by ICE. Don't be surprised if my family members or I am targeted by ICE. It doesn't matter that they are released after proving their citizenship. The humiliation of these illegal detentions based solely on race will stay with those who have been targeted and their loved ones for the rest of their lives. Thank you to Chair Conroy for bringing up this resolution. It's not a token gesture if it proactively mitigates disruption and helps our community members to feel safe, dignified, and valued. Thank you.
Member Desart.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I applaud the chair for authoring this resolution on DuPage County supporting due process and a fair path towards citizenship. In the near future, though, I'd also welcome a resolution explicitly prohibiting ICE actions on county property like Lake and Cook County do. This resolution, for example, says DuPage upholds its right to declare specific county property private or for employee use, whereas Lake and Cook County have resolutions and even signs around their campuses stating, notice, this property is owned and controlled by Lake County government. It may not be used for civil immigration enforcement as a staging area. It has more teeth, is what I'm saying. So the current resolution, which I support fully, under consideration says DuPage upholds the right, Lake County specifically prohibits federal immigration agents from using county property. It also aligns with the Trust Act prohibiting local law from participating in federal immigration enforcement. So my request is that we approve today's resolution supporting due process and a path towards citizenship, and then I'm happy to help write a stronger resolution with the state's attorney's office helping us, saying basically keep off DuPage County property and ban them from the DuPage County airport. Thank you.
I'd just like to make a comment about that. So there are other resolutions that have been passed. I'd like to make the point that Tony Preckwinkle and Jennifer Barentino-Trent are executives. They did executive orders. It did not go through their board. Lake County's was a copy and paste of Brandon Johnson's. My intention was that whatever we put forward is enforceable. There's no point in putting something out there that you're going to say, and I'm going to use an example of Cook County. They put something out there saying you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this. They staged at O'Hare Airport shortly thereafter. We need to do what we can actually do to support our residents. And that's the intention of this, and there will be more to come. So I now have Member Zay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wanted to echo, we don't always agree on this board. Being the senior member, I respect every member of this board. I know what they've gone through to be here, a time away from their families, and that we won't always agree. But I'm going to say it's sad that we have to waste our time today on this resolution, which has no bearing to change anything or make a difference in the everyday lives of our residents. This is political theater and following the political rhetoric of the City of Chicago, Cook, Lake, and Will counties, and a governor who's running for 2 political offices at the same time. Who doesn't support due process and fair treatment? As I said at the Judicial Public Safety meeting 3 weeks ago, both parties in Congress have failed when it comes to the process of becoming a citizen of this great country. It's a privilege to be a citizen of the United States of America, but not a right. I'm sure none of this was brought up to any of our members of Congress that have been on our campus over the last 6 months. We are a nation of laws, and we cannot choose what laws we want to enforce and not enforce. It is against the federal law passed by Congress to enter the United States without proper paperwork and inspection at a designated port of entry. Has anyone actually reached out to the federal government or Immigration Customs Enforcement to get an explanation of what's really going on? I doubt that, and many assumptions are being made by news reporting. I did. I reached out to a 30-year-plus ICE agent to explain what's going on and actually about the due process. First thing he told me is that ICE and Border Patrol are 2 different entities with 2 different rules. ICE is doing targeted enforcement. They have information on individuals they're looking for. In Illinois, we do not notify ICE when a not undocumented immigrant has broken the law. Federal retainers are not honored, thus making ICE have to go into the neighborhoods looking for these people who have broken the law and have been sentenced in our court systems but are let back on the streets. When they find these individuals they're looking for, and if they're with other undocumented immigrants, those people are also taken into custody. That's the law. Due process. Everyone has a court hearing with a judge via the VTC system, which is video, and is asked why are they here illegally, and if there's no fear of being returned to their native country, then they're sent to trial. Most do not want to stay in jail until their trial and request expedited removal and are sent back to their home countries. One group of undocumented immigrants who are not afforded due process are those who have a previous removal order against them. They have been ordered by a judge to be removed from the country. They either did not go back or went back and illegally came back into the country. Those people are immediately deported back to their countries. I believe the reports from our circuit court clerk here on campus are exaggerated, that there have been multiple visits by ICE on our 80-acre complex. I asked the sheriff's office, who handles security at the courthouse, for an explanation. They were informed ICE agents have been in the building looking for subjects on 2 occasions, but did not locate their person. On both occasions, they locked their weapons before entering. I was also told in one instance an ICE agent arrested someone in the courtyard after they exited the courthouse. There have been maybe 2 or 3 visits by Border Patrol agents entering the courthouse to visit the clerk's office to obtain paperwork. One of those visits were for an individual who had personal business, not government business, for the county. Are tensions high in this area? Yes, but it's because of both sides. Would we stand for people yelling in the faces of our sheriff's deputies or our local police? Would we allow people to throw rocks or anything else at our squad cars or ram into them? Why do we find this acceptable behavior and not call out for a stop? Why would we allow people to follow our law enforcement and when they're carrying out their jobs and hinder them? I don't think we would. I hope this board will continue to work together to do what we are elected to do, not to be part of political theater going on. We should be concerned about a clerk who follows none of our policies, thumbs her nose at us, and sues us and costs us hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxpayers' dollars. A recorder who wants a 54% increase in her budget. A coroner who seems to have no idea how to run her office or set up a budget. Is this topic going to be addressed in our federal legislation this year? I hope so. We haven't heard anything from our legislative committee. If so, I will stand with you and work for a bipartisan effort to change the current laws on becoming a United States citizen. It should not cost that much and should take less time. I do not agree with all the points in this resolution, but I appreciate the opportunity to speak on many of these issues and hopes that we can continue to work together on the issues that we actually can do something about and we're elected to do. Thank you.
Member Ozog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, let me start by saying that I am the child of an immigrant, and I grew up with no family nearby, etc. My grandparents had 7 children. All 7 of them left Ireland by 1953, and the reason they left was economic opportunity. And the vast number of people who are in this country, both now, 150 years ago, 200 years ago, are here because of economic opportunity. They are trying to make a better life. There's been a lot of conversations about how ICE has been targeting the worst of the worst, and they're only going after bad people. Let me review some media reports of what's happening. Time magazine. Armed federal agents rappelled from helicopters onto a roof of a 5-story residential apartment in the South Shore of Chicago. Agents worked their way through the building, kicking down doors and throwing flashbang grenades, rounding up adults and screaming children alike, detaining them in zip ties and arresting dozens in a military-style raid. From the Daily Herald, of the people arrested, one was at a grocery store, another was at an apartment complex, and a third was walking down the street. 2 people, both legal residents, were picked up by federal agents at a gas station. From the Associated Press, authorities said they were targeting Venezuelan gangs, but they also said only 2 of the 27 immigrants arrested were gang members. At least half a dozen American citizens were held for hours. From NBC, federal agents got out of their car and grabbed 2 contractors putting in a sidewalk. Agents fired pepper balls and tear gas and used physical force, including slamming people to the ground. From CBS News, reports of federal agents in riot gear dispersing crowds with chemical agents in residential neighborhoods. They claim they're targeting the worst of the worst, but the facts don't match the narrative. And I'll leave you with one of the most frightening stories that I've heard. This person was picked up riding his bike in Key West, Florida in June. He was detained. Turns out he was in the process, he has a green card, was in the process of formalizing his status. He had been here about 7 or 8 years. He was taken to the Crone camp or Crone detention center. 2 days before he was deported, Mr. Stinton said he endured more inhumane treatment, alleged he was again shackled, accompanied by 2 ICE agents, transported to Kendall Hospital, where a nurse injected him with Novocaine and used a scalpel to cut out some of his decorative microdermal implants. These are piercings. Although he did not consent, an implant near his left eye and one on the back of his neck were knifed out. The ICE guards laughed and called it gnarly. Mr. Stinton was picked up because they thought he was Haitian. There was no papers. He had ridden his bike through an intersection. He was picked up because of his appearance. Black hair, black beard. Mr. Stinton is from Northern Ireland, okay? So if you want to talk about racial profiling, this is what is happening. He was held there for a month. He has now been deported back to the United Kingdom. This is what's actually happening. This is racial profiling. This is without warrants. This is without warrant, meaning you should not have any reason to go after people like what is happening. And we need to call it out, and we need to do whatever we can. I like to think of the resolution that I hope we will be passing today as a working document, because there are ongoing things, hopefully more that we can do. but right now we have to pay attention to this issue, because if they came for a man from Northern Ireland because he had a black hair and a black beard, that's my son, okay? And they can come after any of us. And we need to protect our fellow residents of this county and of this country. Thank you.
Okay, Member Yu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I also want to state that I am in support of this resolution, and I just want to make this statement that the mission of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, is to protect the U.S. through criminal investigations and enforcing immigration laws to preserve national security and public safety. But what residents in DuPage County are experiencing and witnessing is not that mission in action. Instead, neighbors, parents, and business owners are being detained without judicial warrants, without due process, and without justification. And let me share one example. A longtime Elmhurst business owner, an Asian American man married to a U.S. citizen, was going through the legal citizenship process. He received a routine interview notice from USCIS, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. But on September 23, 2025, when he arrived for his appointment, instead of continuing his path towards citizenship, ICE agents arrested him on the spot. No warning, no hearing, no due process. His wife and children were left terrified, unable to find out where he was being held. Days later, they discovered that he had been transferred to a detention center in Texas, from where he will likely be deported to a completely different country, not his native country, perhaps to a country in Africa where many other Asians have reportedly been sent. So let me make clear, he had no criminal record, but for a speeding ticket. This man was not a threat to national security or public safety. He was a contributing member of our community, a Main Street business owner who provided jobs to local residents, mentored generations of York High School students, and served Elmhurst customers for years. When ICE detained him, it didn't just devastate one family. It permanently closed a local business, displaced all their employees, and hurt our local economy. That's not law enforcement, that is injustice, and that is just one example, one story, and there are so many others. Those people are the reason I'm voting today to support the resolution, because we cannot stand by while DuPage residents are treated this way. We have to stand up for fairness, due process, and values that make our communities strong, but that this federal administration clearly no longer cares about. What are those values? Compassion, integrity, and respect for the dignity of every person. So thank you, Chair Conroy, for this resolution, which I think is just the beginning of what we are trying to say here in DuPage County. Thank you.
Member LaPlante.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. I support this initiative as a starting point. This is, in my opinion, the bare minimum of what we can do. I want to talk and address the people who came here today that filled our entire gallery to make public comment. Since this has been such a long meeting, a lot of them have left because this is a lot to ask people to take a day off of work, take some time out of their life for a Tuesday morning and be here to make public comment. So I want to very, very sincerely thank every person who came here. I appreciate all of the statements. They were extremely well thought out. They were heartfelt, and they were right. What they are doing by showing up and making these public comments is they are asking us to do our job as elected leaders. Right now, they are showing more courage and determination and leadership than we are. Let's learn from them. They are speaking boldly, they are speaking bluntly, and they are speaking directly. I really appreciate that. I'm disappointed that it's taken us till now to even have this resolution brought before us. As the second largest county in the state, not just by population, but size, scope, and scale, we should be leading this charge. So I'm disappointed that we are the last of the collar counties, and
No, we're not.
after Cook County, one of the last.
No.
To
We would be the second collar county to do it. Or the third, whatever, but it's not the last by far.
Okay, but excuse me, Member Ozog, I have the floor.
Okay.
Please follow Robert's Rules of Order. We need to listen. We need to stand up and face, when we see these constitutional crises, when we see this aggression, when we see this horrible behavior in our communities, it's our job to speak up boldly in the face of that injustice and tell the people in our communities that we have their back, that we're watching out for them. So I am very glad that we're starting today. Of course, I will support it and vote for it. But to all the people who have been reaching out via email, phone calls, texts, I hear you. And yes, I agree. And I'll do my part to make sure that we move this initiative further to be a little bit more encompassing. But thank you for bringing this forward today. I do appreciate that. And again, thank you to everyone who showed up to make a comment today. Your words really do matter. Thank you.
Okay, Member Galassi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. While I understand the intent behind this resolution, it's important to recognize that it carries no enforcement mechanism. It's not an ordinance, a law, or a statute, and therefore has no binding authority. Local governments have no role in federal matters, such as immigration policy. Just as we do not weigh in on tariffs, wars in Gaza or Ukraine, or national debates over gender in sports, we should not use county time and resources to make symbolic statements on federal issues. I was elected to serve my constituents, to focus on local priorities that directly impact our residents' daily lives. Spending time on political theater or resolutions that have no practical effect does not advance that mission. Our responsibility is to deliver results where we actually have authority, not to pass meaningless resolutions that carry no weight and distract from real governance. While I fully support human rights and respect the dignity of all people, including our immigrant communities, I'm not comfortable politicizing this board or using it as a platform for symbolic federal debates. Our focus must remain on the issues we are empowered to address, the local needs and concerns of the people we were elected to serve. Thank you.
Okay, Member Honig.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First, I wanted to start off by saying that all of us on this county board were elected to represent all of our constituents. And today on this board floor, we have the chance to show the people of DuPage County that we are fighting for them. Each of us has the opportunity to speak up and do the right thing on behalf of all our shared communities, and I have heard that thus far. I have watched countless videos of ICE brutalizing people, our neighbors, our community members, children zip-tied, people thrown and slammed into the ground, tear gas unleashed on civilians, emergency vehicles blocking people from doing their jobs, the Department of Homeland Security promoting their authoritarian agenda through video games and television commercials is dystopian, to say the least. Yet this is the reality we are living in. Additionally, the official page of Homeland Security posted a graphic, and I quote, "The enemies are at our gates." That does not sound like a welcoming message, nor does it sound like an encouraging message for people that are of the immigrant community to walk out of their home to feel safe, because they are not. I refuse to stay silent about it. And yes, immigration enforcement existed under previous administrations, but not like this. Then there was due process. Then we did follow a constitution. This November, tens of thousands of Illinoisans are set to lose SNAP benefits and affordable and accessible health care. Families will struggle to put food on their table. Food pantries are already filling up as fast as registration opens. People are counting on us to do our jobs because under this administration, they live not only in fear, but also in constant worry for their family's well-being. There are thousands of people in this county that depend on social services, from social service agencies, whether it is rent assistance, utility assistance, food assistance, and or clothing assistance. And we at this board intimately know that, as all those things are something that we care about and that we continuously fund, and that Chair Conroy has made a priority in her budget. I have seen the demand firsthand visiting these agencies, and it is only growing. And with ICE terrorizing our streets, it makes it extremely difficult for these families to receive these services, and it should not be this way. Small minority-owned businesses are suffering in fear of having to close their doors and employees scared to show up to work, and this is not normal. And I am proud and deeply proud to support this resolution as it was written and proposed by Chair Connery, and thank you for your leadership in this matter in bringing this forward. I do believe, like others have said, going forward, more should and will be done to aid in long-term care of our immigrant community and supporting small businesses affected by ICE and the loss they have endured during what can only be described as traumatic and dark days for our democracy. I will continue to use my voice, as I always have, to defend the fabric of our democracy and do everything I can to make sure that does not unravel, especially here at the local level. I choose to stand on the right side of history because I will not mince my words, because lives truly depend on it. And by passing this resolution, this is a good first step and sends a clear and powerful message to the Trump administration that DuPage County will continue to fight for justice, for dignity, and for due process for all. And I will never, and I mean never, apologize for standing up for my community, especially the immigrant community, because this is the oath I took. And finally, showing empathy is not political theater. Thank you.
Member Heather.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I thank you for your leadership, and I thank you for bringing forth this resolution. I am an immigrant myself. I've gone through the whole process. I've gone through the process of applying for the green card, getting my citizenship, and I remember as my husband would take Metro every morning to go to work, he would call me and say, "Make sure you drive under the speed limit. We cannot even afford to have a speeding ticket." To know that my green card is tethered to a delicate thread of even having a speeding ticket can jeopardize my ability to have a green card, to become a citizen. I don't know if very many of you can really imagine that sort of uncertainty and fear, and living in that fear and raising families going through that fear every day. Can you imagine hundreds and thousands of people in DuPage alone showing up to work every day, not knowing if they will go home or will be detained by ICE by the end of the day? And they are still showing up every single day. They're still working. They're still showing up. I am representing District 5. It's a very diverse district. We have so many diverse communities. And these diverse communities are running businesses, are raising their families in District 5. And I talk to these business owners every day almost. And they're telling me that their workers are not showing up. They're scared. Every day is an uncertain day for them. They don't know what is going to happen, who's going to show up, who will be abducted, who has been abducted. They have no idea. Will anyone even show up to use their services, to eat the food that they are preparing every single day? Growing up in India, I grew up watching a lot of Hollywood movies. And those movies would show me people that would come to rob a bank would always wear a mask. Who's wearing the mask right now? Yes, we have to follow the law, but people who follow the law do not wear masks. They don't hide behind masks. People are being abducted, and we are hiding behind masks. Why are we hiding behind masks if we are doing everything lawfully? If we are following the judicial warrants, why are we breaking the windows of cars to abduct people out from there? How's that following the law? Immigrant communities, as two of the public speakers today said, Ms. Miller said, even the citizens are scared. Forget about those that are going through many more challenges on the path to citizenship. Mr. King said, immigrants commit way less crimes than the rest of the population. And somehow we are demonizing a whole people. That's not what DuPage is. That's not what we all here as leaders are. Yes, this is a great beginning, and yes, we have a lot to do, but I applaud your leadership. Thank you so much for bringing this forward, and I fully support it. Thank you.
Member Martinez.
Thank you, Chair Conroy. It's obvious that I am in support of this resolution. I do think it's a good first step. I also agree with everybody else who has said that this is a working document, and I do believe that there will be more to come, as I have tried to bring up before, that we absolutely need to support our businesses who are supporting our economy. I think it's so, let me just say how hard this is. I'm the only Hispanic on this board. I feel the weight so heavily. I live in a city that has been heavily targeted by ICE. I drive by the streets that are being patrolled by ICE. I see the activity. I see the absolute illegal and terrible things that they are doing to citizens. So don't believe the lies, because they are. I hear everything that's happening. I appreciate the supporters. I appreciate everybody here. One thing that I want to say is that let's not get distracted. It is not political theater. I think this resolution shows support. During the time of the riots that were happening due to the George Floyd situation, I happened to be working at a company that did not make a statement and chose to hide, and that infuriated me. It affected me so much that the company I was working for refused to make a statement and stand against racism. And so I applaud you, Deb, because it takes a lot to take a stand. Okay, if you were not here making this, the opposite could be true, that we'd have to fight to have someone even say something. So it does mean a lot. It means a lot to the community, and we need to keep moving forward. I will continue to fight internally, and I need help. I need more voices. I need more examples. We need to know about all of the businesses that are affected. We need to have a platform so that they can reach out. Right now, it is, because this is new, because this is different, I think a lack of organization is stalling us. So let's build this platform. Let's build a forum where people can come forward. I am all about being efficient and effective with steps, and let's talk about what those steps are. So let's work on procedures to help us move forward on things that we can control, which is the economic stability of this county. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Member Martinez, for your obvious courage. Member Cahill.
Thank you, and thank you, Member Martinez. That was very moving, your speech. I really appreciate that. I just have to say that I have really prided myself in working collaboratively with the chair, the county board chair, and the finance chair, and all my colleagues from both parties to design and advance policies that affect and serve the people of DuPage County. But I was disappointed to get this resolution because to me, in my opinion, it is a political statement. And I feel that as a board member, we should not be weighing in on this matter for this reason. Immigration, as we know, is a federal issue. It's under the authority and enforcement of federal agencies, not our county government. Of course, I fully support due process. Of course, I fully support a pathway to citizenship. Of course, I am very empathetic to the people who are severely affected by some bad things that ICE have done. But I also am a really strong supporter of law enforcement and public safety. I believe that laws exist to be upheld, and if individuals disagree with them, the proper course of action is to work toward changing them. So I believe my attention should be focused on the fundamental duties of the county government. And I believe, respectfully, that this resolution does not advance the true business of DuPage County. So I look forward to returning our attention to the work that truly serves our residents.
Member Covert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay. I first want to thank you, Chair Conroy, for this resolution today. I think it's great the way it is because it is realistic and within our capacity. And I appreciate your realistic approach to issues and measured approach. And it's something that we can do. And I know people have mentioned this is the beginning, but I do like the way it is right now. And I want to mention that I was really moved by Member Martinez's speech. I can't even imagine what her community is going through. And I just want to say that I support this resolution. I am also a strong supporter of law enforcement. And I also agree with, support due process, a fair path to citizenship, and following the legal process. I want to thank and recognize all the love that poured out of the public gallery this morning. It was inspiring and heartwarming. And I want to thank all my colleagues here on County Board for their comments. So I wanted to mention something. I had a speech written today for this morning, and I'm not going to read it. And I'll tell you why. Because this morning, I got a couple of phone calls and constant text messages or phone calls by community members pleading with me, saying that please don't say anything on the county board. There's a resolution up today, but we are scared that you're going to be targeted by ICE. And we don't want you to say anything because you're going to get picked up. And I wanted to tell the story to all of you because I'm not from the Hispanic community. I'm not from the Indian community, but there are people within my community that are scared. There are people that are terrified and they're scared. They're scared for me. They're scared for my family. They don't even want me to say anything. And I wanted to point this out because this is an example of reality, of the reality that a lot of people face, that I faced this morning. And I just can't imagine what other communities are going through. It's affecting a lot of communities. And people are scared. So I just want to let people know that this is what a lot of communities are going through. We need to empathize with them. We need to recognize that, yes, they are scared, and we stand by our DuPage residents. And we need to do whatever we can within our power to make sure that people feel safe and protected. And thank you for doing this. I support this resolution. Thank you.
Okay. Member Krajewski.
Thank you.
You will get to speak. You're the, yeah.
A few people, I've heard some people talk about political theater. political theater or not. I know we had a number of residents come today and speak. We've had that probably 3 times in the last several months. I voted all 3 times to extend public comment, and we only did it twice, and we denied it once when there was the removal of Henry Hyde's name. Again, I voted all 3 times so I wasn't taking sides when we talk about political theater, one side or the other. I did have a lot of residents I heard today talk about Evanston and Cook County and some of the collar counties about banning ICE from the county complexes. I assume the state's attorneys, and Chair Conroy alluded to it, state's attorneys have looked at that, and I directed to Barb. I assume that the reason we don't have it in there is because the state's attorney opinion is that's unconstitutional to ban one group of people from the campus entirely. Is that correct?
That is correct. We found equal protection issues with them, and they would be, if they were challenged, they'd be struck down. So Chair Conroy's direction was
right, to make something
that is legal and not struck down.
Correct. So I think we have to try to help educate the public too, because we had a number of people out there telling us, vote no because you need to put stronger language in there. Vote yes because we need to pass it, et cetera. So, you know, again, we want to, if we're going to do a resolution, which again, I think we should back to doing the people's work, you know, make it constitutional. I know one paragraph here talks about, be it further resolved, DuPage upholds the right to declare specific county property private or for employee use only, thereby preventing the deployment of vehicles, equipment, material, carry out civil immigration. We have that right to designate that, but it would be the entire public, not just civil immigration enforcement that couldn't park there if we designate it. It'd be the protesters that are out there every Friday that are currently there. They couldn't park there either, correct?
Any area that's designated private, and if it says private, no ICE, and employees only, also the protesters could not
Protesters
park there.
couldn't park there, neither could the 32-week pregnant lady that needs to go to circuit court, couldn't park there. It's basically the public can't park there. So I know we're putting this in there, we're specifically saying ICE, maybe that's for the benefit of people, but it's the public can't park there. It's everybody, so I don't know if we should add that in. You know, I've heard more stuff is coming. I'm not sure what these resolutions are that have been coming to us. Again, they have no teeth. It's a resolution, not an ordinance. You know, I heard some talk on our discussion right here now about SNAP benefits. Those are going to be potentially expiring. People aren't going to be able to, you know, receive the SNAP benefits. I'm just looking on the news here. Just the Congress again, 13th time, clean resolution to open up the government was defeated for a 13th time. So, you know, I'm not sure we're going to just do a resolution because our 2 senators voted against it. We're going to do a resolution trying to encourage them to do it. Again, the resolutions mean nothing. We can only focus on things that are on the county. Like today, we moved $1 million to your Chair Conroy DuPage Sustainability Initiative to help out for that. But again, you know, I think we need to also try to educate people. Again, I heard a lot of people telling us we should do this, we should do that, but under the advice of the attorney or state's attorney, those would be unconstitutional. And so now we have I guess a watered down version of what a lot of residents want, but the state's attorney says that this thing is okay. I'm not going to vote for this resolution because I'm sure you're going to continue debating. If I was here, I have to leave at 1:30. I have a sick mother. I have to get to the cardiologist, so I have to get out of here in 5 minutes. But if I was here for the vote, I would vote no, just so I could get that on the record. So it's not a misvote. Thank you.
Okay. Member Eckhoff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. A couple of weeks ago, we had a little discussion about a post that was on Facebook that some of us didn't like. And I thought after that discussion, we sort of agreed that in general we work in a bipartisan manner and we should continue doing so. And I don't think this resolution is bipartisan, and that's why I wrote the amendment that I wrote. But a few people pointed out to me that my amendments aren't exactly bipartisan either. So in the spirit of being bipartisan, I'm not going to present that today. But I do agree with some of the speakers today that I think this entire subject is beyond the scope of the county purview. and that could be a number of, as Mr. Krajewski said, number of federal issues that we could start debating, from abortion to I don't know what. And I just don't think that's what we're here for. And I agree with a lot of the speakers that have already spoken. You know, who doesn't agree in equal protection, due process, lack of discrimination, shouldn't discriminate on race, shouldn't discriminate on age. And I agree with you that Washington has made a mess out of the immigration policy, both sides of the aisle, over the last 20, 30, 40 years. But this situation today didn't happen in a vacuum. And I think when we have a resolution like this, you need to acknowledge both sides of the coin. And I don't think this does this. And as I wrote in what I sent to you, everyone, last night, 22 million people enter this country illegally. They didn't have permission. Some of them came and murdered and raped U.S. citizens. Some of them engaged in sex trafficking of children and women. Some of them brought in drugs so that Americans died. We never said a word about that over the last 3 to 5 years. We didn't bring any resolutions. We didn't say anything. What did you think is going to happen about that? And so that's why I think it's inappropriate to start bringing up things regarding ICE now. I believe in the rule of law, as a number of people have said. ICE was formed in 2002. You may remember President Obama was called the deporter-in-chief. He got sued by the ACLU. He did a lot of the same things that are going on now. No resolutions about that. He deported 3 million people. So there's people entering the country without permission. That is breaking the law. You can't come in and say, I want a job, and that gives you permission to come into the country. There's a statute that talks about that, and you have to follow the statute. If you don't like the statute, if you don't like ICE, change the law. Go to court, go to your legislators, go to your people in Washington, and change the law. But you can't cherry pick what laws you're going to follow and which ones you're not. So I agree that we're way over the top in how some of this is being enforced. But what did you expect to happen when you've got half the country is talking about people being murdered and raped and things like that? Then they elect somebody who's going to go totally opposite of what the prior administration did and hit you just as hard to the right as we got hit by the left. So you got to try to see this in perspective. Somebody talked about, why are the ICE people wearing masks? The same reason the people committing crimes are wearing masks, because they don't want to be seen, because people are going to their houses and putting their families. Well, that's right, because people are being screened out, and they're putting their family at risk, and they're putting the person with ICE at risk. So I suggest, if there's going to be another resolution, I hope that the chair or whoever drafts it will ask some other people on the other side of the aisle to take a look at it, to work with you in a bipartisan manner so that we can move forward and do something. But well, the one thing that one of the speakers said that I thought made a lot of sense, and I can't believe nobody's done it, is if you want more people coming into the country, add more judges, immigration judges and lawyers to get that job done, and have Congress figure out how many people you want to come into the country and do it legally. But it's not being done legally now, and I think we need to clean up the mess.
Member Garcia.
That is a tough one to follow, I'm just going to say. I don't have anything prepared because I wanted to hear what everyone's comments were. And what has really surprised me, because I do feel like we have a very good bipartisan board here that works a lot on the county business. But we have two completely different views of what's happening in our neighborhoods. I don't know how we're getting our information. I don't know whether we're watching different channels. I don't know whether we're watching different social media. I don't know what's happening. But what I'm seeing is horrifying. There is no due process being given. What we were told was that the people who were criminals would be taken in and would be given due process, and then, if found guilty, would go back to their countries. That's what we were told. That is not what's happening. That's absolutely not what's happening. There is mistreatment of humans. That's what's happening right now. We've got people, as we've said, some people here it said, breaking of windows to take them from the cars with guns pointed at their faces. We've got ICE agents, which do have the masks up because they're doing something criminal, pushing them out of the car. I know I personally, in my neighborhood, landscapers who work in my neighborhood, they were rounded up and they're gone. And so that business is no longer able to function because those people who were actually out doing the work to feed their families and take care of their families were just rounded up. They were not criminals. They were not criminals. They were just people trying to actually feed their families. Being in this country undocumented is not a crime. It's not. It's a misdemeanor if you want to take it to court, but it's not a felony. It's not something you're going to go to prison for. I mean, I don't know if they're telling us, have we talked to our representatives? Our representatives are trying to get in to see the conditions of where these people are being held. They're not being allowed to see them. So that's very frightening to all of us here. All of us, we don't know how these people are being treated, and that we're not all sitting here going, oh my God, we need to fight back for the residents that are being put into these places and are being mistreated, and we don't know what's happening to them. That in itself is wrong. There are now mothers and fathers that are being taken right in front of their children. They are not allowed to hug them goodbye. Often they aren't even allowed to say goodbye to each other. I cannot imagine that everybody on this board is okay with this. I cannot imagine, because I know all of you, and I know you are kind people, and I know you have good hearts. I cannot believe that you are not okay with this, that you are okay with this. I cannot believe it. We have to have something done, and I am very grateful that the chair, and I know she has agonized over this for weeks, because I've had conversations with her, because I'm trying to get something done for weeks. This is not something like, oh, we better do what everybody else is doing. This is like, how do we get the wording correct? How do we do what's correct? And yes, the immigration system is broken, and we need to state that. But we can only do what we can do legally. And so we have to follow that law too. So we would love to do everything that everybody wants us to do that's said in public comment today, because they're all fantastic ideas. But we only have so much that we can do. And I thank the chair for her leadership in this, and that we do have a resolution before us so we can do that. And I know there's more steps to come. And I would love to change what's going on in our federal government. But for God's sake, they have to come to work. I'm sorry, they haven't come to work for how many days now? There's no Republicans coming to work. So until they come into the House and so we can actually have discussions with them, I would love to. I would call them and say, what's happening here? But we can't do it. And they just say nothing. So I'm sorry that this is just something that we cannot ignore. We have to be strong about this, and we have to stand up for our residents. That is something that we're supposed to do. We're elected by our people, and our people are being mistreated. Thank you.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to speak once? Member Tornatore has not, so go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really don't want to belabor this because I know everybody's tired, but I got to say a few things. I don't have anything prepared, but like some of you, I'm a son of an immigrant as well who came here when he was 3, who became a United States citizen, served in the United States Navy in World War II. Both sets of my grandparents spoke Italian. I'm very proud of that. And I'm very happy that when I discussed this with you, the first thing that I asked you is, have you vetted this with the state's attorney's office? And of course you said yes. Because my first impression in reading it was that it might have been political, but I understand that. And I think I also said what took you so long. There's issues in here that we all stand for, of course. There are flaws in Congress. There are flaws in the system. We all believe in due process. I've been a lawyer than some of you have been alive. And the reality here is that I detest arrests without probable cause. I detest the lack of due process. I detest violations of laws, by whomever they may be. Some believe that this has not gone far enough. Some believe this has gone too far. So perhaps maybe it's where it ought to be. But as a county board member, those of you who know me know that I hate politics. I hate politics in governing. I don't think they mix. I think it causes problems. So I'm not looking at this as a Republican or a Democrat or a liberal conservative, or even from a humanities standpoint. I'm looking at it as a lawyer and as a county board member. And as a lawyer, I can tell you that this resolution does have some teeth. Because if you look, the definition of a resolution is to formally express the opinion or will of a government body. They're used to declare position on an issue and authorize specific actions. While many resolutions are not laws, and this isn't a law, it's not an ordinance, they can have a significant impact by documenting a binding decision and a formal statement of intent. And that's what I think we have, a formal statement of intent, which hopefully wouldn't get struck down. And if we were to put signs up that say this is a private body, it couldn't just exclude ICE, it would exclude everyone. And that would meet constitutional muster. So as a county board member, then I have to ask myself, what's my duty as a county board member to ensure safe passage for the people who come here to conduct business, go to court, our employees to come here and feel safe. I know I'm in court 3-4 days a week. Half the people don't come to court anymore who have a ticket, and I understand that. I've had clients call me and say they don't want to come to court. Can I go to court for them because they're afraid? Citizens who don't want to do it are afraid they're going to get scooped up. I can't imagine that. I don't excuse those people who refuse to comply with the law. I think if you refuse to comply, there are penalties. Some should be, the penalty should justify what you've done. We've overcorrected, there's no question. And that concerns me. I hope for a solution in Congress, but I at one time hoped to play third base for the Cubs. It didn't happen. I don't know that that's ever going to happen. It's pretty obvious I'm breaking ranks with my fellows of the same party here, but we've done that before, and we'll still be friends in the future. And I think they know where I stand on this. This really isn't about right or wrong or anything else. It's just about what we want and what we should have. I think I told some people I was in Waukegan last night. As one of the firms I'm of counsel for represents the city of Waukegan, and I was there as their city attorney, and they passed a similar resolution that had a heck of a lot more teeth than this. I mean, it had signs, it had the ability to, all of which there were 200 people there in public comment. None of them were happy because it still hadn't gone far enough. So I applaud you for bringing it forward. I hope it gets us somewhere. If nothing else, it tells some people how we feel about the things that are going on. And as Member Deacon Garcia said, we're all good people. We all know each other. We have a difference of opinion, but it doesn't mean we can't work together. And we can do more than two things at the same time. So, thanks. I support your resolution.
Thank you. I think everybody's had a chance to really say something, and really, I appreciate everything everyone has had to say. Before Vice Chair Childress closes, and I think he has some comments, I'd just like to add a couple things. One, I want to share with you a story that Member Martinez brought to me a couple weeks ago, which kind of really has cut home for all I can tell you, our mayors and managers, because I just met with them. There's a restaurant in West Chicago that has been incredibly popular and done very well. The man that owns it is a Mexican legal citizen of the United States of America. No one's coming in. Not just those who might be in fear, those who are legal citizens who may look like Melissa, who may look like Sabah, who may look like Sadia, who may look like Ina. They're not coming in because they're afraid they're going to be targeted because of the color of their skin. We're losing business. Last week, I met with the mayors and managers. State's Attorney Bob Berlin and I both did. They wanted to talk about ICE. Talk to your mayors, guys. The 90% of the mayors in DuPage County are Republican. They're outraged. They're losing businesses. They're seeing their community members being taken and not fairly, and they have stories. Who represents Hanover Park here? Please call your mayor. Please call your mayor. They are asking me to help them. We talked about law enforcement. Mayors and managers and myself are concerned about our own law enforcement. Law enforcement will go there to make sure everything is safe and fine, but there is no guarantee that they are safe if they try to intervene. This is a terrifying moment for all of us. No one knows what to do, but we need to support our people. I'm today embarrassed to say I don't consider myself a white woman. I consider myself an Irish woman because my grandparents came here and they worked damn hard to get here. My mother still yells at us with a very heavy brogue, and I am so proud of that. But how many of you can stand up and say, I'm a U.S. citizen, I was born here, my entire family was born here? This country is based on immigrants. The work of immigrants, the history, the culture, we need to be damn proud of every bit of it. And we need due process. It has to stop. And no, we're not done. But we are going to be thoughtful, we are going to be supportive, and we are not going to tolerate our citizens being stolen in the night and not knowing where they end up. Vice Chair Childress.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with you. I also want to let it be known that there's absolutely no daylight between you and I. I just want to share a story that I don't share with many people. My father is from Starksville, Mississippi. And he shared with me when I was probably 7 or 8. And people ask me, why do you fight so hard for civil rights? Well, men showed up at his house and dragged his uncle out of his house, put a rope around his neck, and hung him. Okay, I've been fighting for civil rights since then. And to know that what's going on now is still no different. You know, when people show up with masks on, what's the difference between their mask and a white sheet? There is none. And I just want people to understand, I don't care if it's in District 1, District 6, or any other place. I don't even care if it's in Chicago. If people are being abused and treated less than humans, I'm going to show up and fight. It's just the way it is. And right now, I am seeing that our Latin brothers and sisters are being targeted. For what? Because of the way they look, and we say, well, it's political theater. Well, I can tell you what, my father didn't think it was political theater when they was dragging his uncle out of the house. Okay? None of that stuff matters. You know, what we do today matters. And you say, well, we can't enforce it. There's nothing we can do to enforce it. Well, the statement that our chair is making today may not be the end-all, be-all, but it is a start. It is a start as we move forward. And it is a start to understand that the people that are being attacked and brutalized are human beings. And to say, well, we can't do anything about this. You know, well, black people have gone through a whole ton of civil rights that people said there's nothing you can do about it, being hosed and beating on Selma's bridge just for what? For the right to vote. So to say we can't do anything, it starts with people like the chair putting out resolutions. And like she said, this is the start. This is not the end. This is not something we're just going to throw over the wall and say, okay, goodbye. This stands for something. To me, it hits home. And again, I support the chair and what she's trying to accomplish. And I will reiterate, no daylight, none between what the chair does and what I stand for. And with that, I'll end, and we can take our vote now.
Okay, did we have a motion? It's been a bit. Okay, we'll do a roll call, please.
Member Childress.
I proudly vote yes.
Member Covert. Member Desart.
Yes.
Covert.
Yes.
Thank you. My vote is yes.
Member Desart.
Yes.
Member Eckhoff. Member Evans. Member Galassi. Member Garcia.
Yes.
Member Heather. Member Honig.
Yes.
Member Krajewski. Member LaPlante. Member Martinez.
Yes.
Member Ozog. Member Schwarzy. Member Tornatori. Member Yu.
Aye.
Member Zay. And Member Cahill.
Okay, with 12 yes, 1 no, 5 not voting, this motion or this resolution is passed. Okay. Now we'll move on to old business. Does anyone have anything in old business? Okay, Member Yu.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just very quickly, I just wanted to thank, they're not here anymore, but the Moms Demand volunteers that came from Elmhurst, Beth Scruggs and Rachel Eckhorn. The fact that they came here to support Member Childress's memorial is wonderful, and I totally support Member Childress's plans with regard to that memorial space for domestic violence survivors. Thank you, Member Childress.
Okay, Member Covert.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Really quick, I completely forgot to mention this card at the end of my statement. It's for the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. It's 1-855-435-7693 for those who need help.
Thank you. Okay, anybody in new business? Okay, we do not have executive session today, so I'll take a motion to adjourn this meeting of the September session up to Wednesday, November 12th, 2025 at 7 p.m. for the passage of the property tax levy. This pursuant of 35 ILCS 200/18-10. This meeting of the September session is adjourned until, all in favor? This meeting is adjourned until Wednesday, November 12th at 7 p.m.